Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this week's Thursday edition of the Xbox Factor podcast. I am your host, MrBooMStickXL, and as you can tell right now, the Xbox community is riding ultra high simply because, my God, has Xbox been hitting on all cylinders. This is the Xbox that we remember from the 360 era. This is the Xbox that looks to dominate this particular generation. And if you are an Xbox Game Pass subscriber, my God, there are so many games coming out in the next 2 months that literally I don't know what I'm going to play first. We have some Titanfall 2 is going to run for the first hour of the program, one of my favorite games. And people keep asking, Boom, why do you play so much Dirt 5 and Titanfall 2? And why do I play it on the shows? Well, as a producer, you want something that is going to be engaging, that is fast, that is fun, that people are enjoying. And these two particular games hit that mark. Obviously, I tried some other games like a Mass Effect, for instance. As great as that game is, it's slow, it's boring, and it really doesn't do anything for the eyes. So, of course, we're going to continue to bring in some Forza Motorsport and some other first-person shooters to keep everyone engaged. And then at the 1 o'clock hour, folks, we are going to be switching over and going into the Xbox Games Studio Showcase Extended Edition with community good guy Paris Lilly, and that is going to run for 90 minutes. Now, I don't necessarily know if the whole panel is going to be able to hang out for the full 90 minutes after. I will be here, and even if I'm by myself, folks, I am going to be here covering that live and hopefully getting some good information about what Obsidian is up to, what Ninja Theory is up to, and maybe potentially even some surprises. But let's get into the introductions. And we're going to start first with Mr. Bad Bit. First of all, brother, welcome back to the program. How are you, brother? And man, I cannot wait to talk Halo with you. I know you're excited.
I know. It's crazy how I could be excited for a Halo and then Platinum Ratchet and Clank on the PS5 at the same time.
Isn't that great? Isn't that wonderful?
It seems like the internet will make you seem like it's impossible to like these things at the same time. But I'm here to tell you, it very much is. I'm excited to be here, man.
Yeah, well, it's great to have you, brother. Definitely appreciate you being here and really cannot wait to hear what you have to say about Halo, because there is a real excited fervor within the community about what is coming, what we've seen, what they brought out in that 12-minute video the next day that really broke down what Halo Infinite is multiplayer is going to look like and be when it launches later this year. But we're gonna go next to, of course, Boxenberger, aka Box a Bear, aka Archimedes. What's up, dude? How you been?
Thanks. I'm very good. I'm sweating a lot. It's ultra hot here right now in Germany. But otherwise, I'm fantastic. It's been a fantastic week with E3. So much news, so much awesome things to look forward to. And today, the final thing, the Xbox Showcase Extended. How can I not be excited? Looking forward to watch it with you guys here. Yeah, let's do this.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And next up, Josh, N64 Josh, newest panel member to the Thursday edition. Josh, not only are we happy to have you a part of the program, not only are we happy to have you here today, but you did something, my friend, that I want you to kind of get people's eyes and ears on. You launched a new program on your channel specifically covering Halo Infinite. Talk about that for a hot second.
The Halo Infinite podcast launched last night. It's available on Anchor and on Spotify at the moment. The first episode, the pilot episode, 70 minutes, breaking down just Halo Infinite multiplayer. So if you can watch it on YouTube if you want, that's where I recommend checking it out, because you can see the things we're seeing. But there's so much in that video that we like. The way they edited it, I feel like they were thinking about content creators, honestly, because they're like, you know what, we're going to put this here, and then we're going to put this here a little bit later, and we're going to have them guessing, and then we're going to show them what it actually is. And there was so much to unpack, and I'm so very excited for Halo, and I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks so much for being here. Definitely appreciate that, and hopefully you get a lot of views. That sounds like I told, like I quoted you on Twitter. I think that is a fantastic program and a great time to talk about Halo, because everyone who is anyone is talking about Halo. And last and no way least, you know him as the smartest man on the panel, one who's probably drinking a spot of tea as we speak. VJ, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Boom. I know you've got a really packed show today, so I'm happy to move along with it.
Well, thanks so much for being here, brother, and cannot wait to get your opinion on a lot of the big topics. And the first topic of the day, folks, is listen, I've talked almost to the point of nauseum Halo Infinite. And I think that, you know, there were a lot of people that walked away from the E3 Microsoft Showcase presentation impressed. I certainly was one of them. I walked away thinking that they were hitting on all cylinders regarding story. I got OG Halo feels with the way that Master Chief conducted himself while floating in space, you know, going past those dead Marines, showing empathy for those dead Marines, the way that he responded to, you know, Cortana 2.0, if that's what you want to call her. And it gave me the OG feeling of Halo Combat Evolved and Halo 2. And those are two really important games for me personally in my video game career. But nothing is more important to me personally than the multiplayer that I saw on display. And even though we got a nice glimpse and a solid understanding on what they're going to be looking to do for Halo Infinite, it was the next day that we got the Halo Infinite multiplayer overview that was about 12 minutes in length, and they went into real specific detail on how they're going to be handling multiplayer, and I absolutely loved everything. As a matter of fact, it gave me the old school Halo 3 feels, which of course is my personal favorite Halo multiplayer of all time. My brother Neil Mental and I spent hundreds, if not 1,000+ hours playing that multiplayer when it was on the 360, and we absolutely had a blast. We're both looking forward to jumping into this. I mean, you got the Halo Academy. You got you know, if you're new to Halo, you can train with bots. It just goes on and on and on. And the customization. I mean, if you're a big dude like me, I'm 6 feet, 210 pounds. I have a 55-inch chest. I'm big on top, right? If I want my character to look like a boomstick, I can do that. You can change the voices. You can change the shapes of your character. There's so much customization, and who does not want that samurai outfit? I mean,
God
damn it. And you know what's great? One of the biggest points, yes, there's going to be seasons. You're gonna have, you know, but what I loved about it is they clarified what you see in the game, you can unlock by doing what? Playing the game. And I love it. Joe, let's go to you first on this, brother. We were talking in the green room 15 minutes, literally till we were blue in the gills about Halo. How excited are you? Not just for yourself, but for the Xbox fan base that has been clamoring for the Chief to come back in a big way. And I think that 343 has responded.
Dude, I am so ready for this game. So, okay. I don't even know where to start about where I love it, because everything. Like, I loved everything. First, let's give a big, and I think we have to mourn. You know, it's important to mourn when we lose someone or lose something special, and I just want to mourn Craig the Brute. He died. His body was laid out to sea as requests of him and his family. This game looks absolutely incredible. It just looks absolutely breathtaking. Like the Chief just looked so good, and everything, like even the multiplayer, like Spartans. The one thing that I think stuck out to me first was how deep the customization is for your individual Spartan. And the one thing that 343 really wanted to do here, and I really dug, is you are your Spartan. It's you. And they wanted to make sure that you feel like your Spartan is unique to you and what you like aesthetically. So like yeah, the samurai looked awesome. It looked like, I think it was called the Ishimura, right? Like armor in Halo 2, which I absolutely loved. So I just love how, to me, that was like an homage to Halo 2. The gameplay itself, you know, it's what I want out of an evolution of Halo from what I'm looking at right here. So for me, yeah, it screams Halo 3 with the power-ups, but how power-ups work in this game is when you pick something up, whether it's a grapple hook or that shield that we saw, if you die, you drop that power-up and that other person picks it up. So that's the one interesting thing that I really like, is that they're treating power-ups like power weapons on the map. So it's giving you more things, yeah. And as for vehicles in Halo, depending on which one you're playing, are either super OP or just worthless, right? There's not a balance to it. And so adding that hook ability not just adds verticality, but also offers a level of balance between Spartan and vehicle. So I'm really interested to see how that's going to play for land things like Wraiths that are not as nimble. They're a lot floaty with their physics. So I'm interested to see how that's going to work, how boarding is going to work in Halo. But the other thing,
carjacking people when they're in like a Pelican or something, how freaking dope is that?
It looks fantastic, and that's the thing that I really want to strike on here is like, Banshees are usually the most annoying thing to go up against. This is the equilibrium here. And so that's awesome for me. That adds another thing so that they're not just running the whole entire map all the time. The one thing that I got to give credit to Ainsley, he said it on Twitter, is the thing that I was thinking is how the physics are. Like I'm watching right now on my second monitor, just like when you shoot a guy, he just bursts out of it. Like he's just like, bruh, and just falls over.
Like I've seen people like fall off cliffs and stuff. You know, when you hit them, they fall. Their bodies fall.
It feels like there's weight attached to them.
Yeah,
and that's a really awesome thing. Like seeing, I think the one thing I saw from him was like with the pistol shot, and the guy just drops. Like that was awesome. Even going back to the samurai, you tossing a grenade, blowing the weapon towards you, gripping onto it, like that is an awesome play of the physics in this game. I'm really, really interested to see how this game feels through its physics, because that is something that usually in most games overlooked, but is the most important thing, especially when it comes for Halo, because of how grenades are supposed to bounce off objects or off walls. I'm very, very in on this game. Like I can't say enough of what I loved, because it was literally everything. And you're right, there's a different energy for Halo now, and I kind of feel like it's that nostalgic energy of like, we have not gotten one of these in a really long time, and we'll forgive, even like for someone like me that did not like Halo 5 Guardians. It's like, we'll forgive it. Like I like, this is giving me the feelings of peak Halo. And so I'm really thinking 343's got it, man. I cannot wait for the beta, whenever the heck that is, because you can see that they got something here. They really do. And they know it. And the one thing I do want to mention before, how the season passes are going to work, where you can unlock, if you miss out on a season pass, you just like, just keep on playing it or progress with the season pass you want to, or battle pass rather, you want to, is fantastic. This game's going to it's gonna kick ass.
Yeah, no, I got you. Real quick before I let you go, Joe, Sin Vendetta in the chat drops a $5 super chat and says, Joe, how many days until Elden Ring?
217.
I love it. The fact that you know that, well, you're a fan, no doubt about it.
Took me a second, but I got it.
You got it, of course you did. But Boxenberger, let's get your opinion on this, additional footage for Halo. I mean, it's important because I think that they did everything. Now, you had a lot to say, negative and both positive, about your thoughts on Halo. I have a question for you. Has any of your opinion changed with the additional footage on the multiplayer, or are you still in the same camp that they just did not do enough single player for you?
People always misquote me from that discussion last week. I've never said that Halo looked bad in any way. On the contrary, I thought it looked awesome. I just felt that they didn't show it properly during the E3 event, and I stay by that sentiment. That was not a good presentation for the game. What they did the day after that Halo multiplayer demo was exactly what they should have implemented somehow in the main show, or at least advertise it during the main show. Let people know more is coming tomorrow. Yeah, I never said Halo looked bad by any means, because I've seen a lot of people quote me, like Boxenberger thinks Halo looks bad. On the contrary, it looks awesome. And that multiplayer demo that they gave on the day after the big E3 showcase was absolutely fantastic. There was so much in there. Besides, of course, the graphics that looked fantastic. I really liked some of the approaches that they took with the Halo multiplayer being free to play, because I was a little bit worried. Is it going to be full with microtransactions? How do they handle season passes and so on? But I think they handled it or are going to handle it in a perfect way, because if we look at it, you get a season pass, yeah? That season pass will stay forever with you, yeah? Even if the season is over. It's really, you get something for your value. There's no pay to win, yeah? Everything can also be achieved by, like you said earlier, via in-game accomplishments and playing the game. That's just how you handled a free-to-play game. So I've zero doubt that they will treat Halo the way it needs to be treated. They will not exploit any of the free-to-play mechanics and the monetization behind it. So at least not from what we know now. That's really good to know. And then the look of Halo is absolutely fantastic. Of course, we've seen a lot of the enhancements of the graphics, but I've seen also a lot of people complain about the art style, that they are going for a more stylized look, yeah, and not.
I think it looks fantastic. It looks
fantastic.
modern.
It's exactly what it needs to do.
Yeah,
yeah. Halo doesn't need to have ultra realistic, photorealistic graphics. It's a little bit stylized. It looks beautiful. It looks super fast paced. I love it. And can you imagine that game? The multiplayer runs or is going to run at 120 frames. Can you imagine how the single player campaign will look? It's going to be awesome. The showing this 10-minute or 12-minute in-depth multiplayer
That's
demo
my
was
reaction when people say the art looks bad.
yeah. It was really, really good. How they presented it, how they handled the presentation, the way how you show off multiplayer is really hard. It's way more difficult to show off multiplayer than single player. And that was handled very well. So I'm really excited for Halo. I can't wait to play it. I'm still wondering why they haven't announced a release date yet, considering that we get Forza Horizon 5 in the beginning of November. I was thinking Halo comes out at that time, yeah, for the 20th anniversary. That seems to be now Forza Horizon. So that's my only question mark right now. When will it actually come out?
Well, you know what? I think what's going on right now is a game of chicken. I think that both Sony and Microsoft are looking. We both know that there two big bullets are coming, one from each company. I mean, again, I'm still on the fence on whether or not I think we're going to get a delay for Horizon. I don't know if that's true. That could be me just overthinking it. I think we're going to get a delay on that game. At least that's my opinion on it, simply because, again, COVID did much more damage than anyone wants to give the virus credit for, especially in the entertainment industry, both in film, of course, but in video games even.
I mean, you saw it with this E3 with what people were actually able to announce.
Yes,
right.
The E3 was extremely light on those big blockbuster E3 announcements, and I think that's because, well, I mean, COVID, it's still a thing, and there's
You
a
can't
variant
mocap
running around,
anything.
so it could come back, so we don't even know. But I
Mhm.
think that they're waiting. Now again, the surprise for this situation could potentially be an early release, maybe in September, which would blow my mind, to be honest with you. It's possible.
Yeah.
It's unlikely, but I'd like to say, but who knows? Because I'm a big dates kind of a guy, right?
Can I be honest with you, Boom?
Sure, please, by all means, come on.
I think with Breath of the Wild out of the way, I do think Horizon is gonna come this year, because
I
the
hope
way
so.
the way Sony talks about it as well, I think they were just waiting to see, like, okay, game, what are you doing here? I think that's a November release. And listen, I could be dead wrong. I think it's a 50-50 shot, but I'm going with my gut here. I hope, I pray that Xbox puts out Halo in September.
I would
'Cause
love it.
if they say they
Yeah.
got the launch, stuff out of the way in early January, then they got it. They just I think you wait for Call of Duty, you wait for all the first person shooter stuff to drop, and then you're like, okay, we're gonna drop all, like, a healthy way away from all those things. So it gives this game time to breathe and audience to build.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that
Agreed.
makes sense. I would
That's
love a
why
September
I'm
release.
thinking it might drop in December, to be honest. That they do an early December drop, that they are far away from Call of Duty and Battlefield, and there's really not much coming out, but you're still out for the whole big holiday season, and then you are the last big game that was released before the Christmas break, where everyone is going to play. So I could see that happening.
It could be, it could be September, it could be December. You want to make sure that all you're respectful to your partners, even like Ubisoft that they have Far Cry with. My mistake, weeks past. But like, you want to make sure that you're not putting this game in a crowded area that may do harm to your game, or may do harm again to your partner's game.
Yes.
So you want to make sure you have as much advertising time as possible with that game. And really build up to it. So you're right. I think it could be December. It could be. They could miss out on a Game Awards. I don't think they really care.
I don't think they care, honestly.
Yeah.
At this point, I mean, listen, we're going to be talking about it on tomorrow's Breakfast with Boom with King David, who's going to be joining us. We might have another special guest. I'm trying to see if we can get someone else, because Dreadpool is not going to be able to be joining us, but we will, of course, have Mr. Bear Bit. Of course, we will have, the regular cast and crew of Breakfast with Boom. Would just be minus Dreadpool, simply because he has work responsibilities. But King David will be there. And we're going to be talking about the winners and losers of E3 and a bunch of other really good topics that should definitely keep you talking. But listen, I want to move on to Josh. Josh, as we close in on the half-hour mark, why don't you tell us about what your opinion of this additional Halo coverage? Did it do anything more for you, or were you just already hype?
First, I just want to say I'm so excited that we're getting the first Fortnite spin-off game, and the guy from Fortnite finally has his own game, right?
There you go.
Master Chief. So
there you go.
I'm really excited.
Yeah, the Master Chef. Yeah.
The Master Chef. He finally has his own game. I've been on Cloud9 since since the announcement of Halo Infinite. Like I'm over the moon. And seeing the video that dropped the next day, finding out about the season pass, going through and just really just scrubbing that footage and trying to dig out the different details and looking at some of the different weapons and some of the different power-ups and how they're going to work. Halo's back, right? This looks like it looks like we finally have a sequel to Halo 3. It's really what it feels like. Like
that's a really strong point, dude. I haven't heard anyone actually speak that kind of correlation, but that's a great strong point, because I told everyone in the opening of the show, it gave me the Halo 3 feels, and I think you're onto something when you say this could potentially be a spiritual successor to the greatest Halo in Halo 3.
I really believe it is, and just looking at it, you see you see just the culmination of it all coming together, right? You see elements of Halo 1, you see elements of Halo 2, you see elements of 3, you see elements of Reach, and and even 4 and 5, there were still some good things from those games. And here's the other thing. Even if there are a few missteps right at the beginning, balancing things like that, 343, if anything else, they have proved to us that they will not stop until their game is where it should be. And they showed us that with the Master Chief Collection.
Yeah, indeed they did. That's a fantastic point. I mean, listen, this was everything I could have asked for. I think this is everything anyone could have asked for that wanted to see the flagship Halo franchise come back in a big way. And I think that they really did hit on both cylinders. I think that by showing us that that's the cinematic trailer with the empathy, I mean that there was a lot of emotion in that few minutes that we saw Master Chief. That was old school Halo at its absolute finest, and of course, to bookend it, new school kind of Halo, Infinite with, I mean, obviously you heard Joseph Staten say that we are going to cater to our classic Halo brethren, but we're also going to be welcoming in new players, meaning that Fortnite audience. And I think that what they, we're going to be getting all of the greatest, the great things that we love about Halo, but at the same time, it's going to be welcoming enough to new players. And, it's funny, good friend of the show, Miles Dompierre of Windows Central, was tweeting yesterday. And he was what I found interesting about his tweet, because I he's a friend of the show, love his work in the community. He's definitely going to be coming back on in the next week or two. We're going to get him back on here. I'm not sure if it's going to be this one or prime time, but we're definitely getting him and Jeff Grubb on, as a matter of fact. But he was in line at GameStop to buy an Xbox Series S, and he said that the people in line with him were so excited to talk about Halo. And what he said, and what I gathered from what he was talking about, is a lot of these were new players to Xbox because of the E3. And I think that is mega important. But VJ, let's get your final opinion on here. We're going to get on to the second topic of the show, and then we're going to roll right into the Paris Lily hosted event, and we'll get Joe on at it, because I think, Joe, you only got an hour, right? Okay. VJ, if you're clearing your throat, and I think you're blowing out everyone's ears.
Sorry.
How are you, and what did you think from a marketing manager's point of view? Did Halo answer the call further during that 12-minute breakdown that they released yesterday?
Yeah, I had 5 prerequisites for E3, and Halo having a sort of a better coming out party than the previous year was one of them. So I guess you know where I stand, right, on Halo, given that I awarded the show a 10 out of 10. So
yeah,
look,
strong.
So that was prior to the 12 minutes, right? Show. So the additional show, or additional footage. Look, I've played Halo multiplayer on a few occasions by Mr. Tushy's community game nights. So I will add that the skill level or floor level and sort of mechanical hand dexterity required to be sort of even reasonable at the game, so it kind of escapes me. So I'm not anywhere near sort of at the required level, or perhaps where I need to be, right, in order to sort of enjoy the game as much as others do. But as an observer, from a presentation and gameplay point of view, Halo Infinite looks fantastic. And other than that, I'm not all that qualified, if at all, to sort of give any real opinion on this topic, other than the fact that everyone is excited for Halo multiplayer, and as quite frankly they should be. And the mental anguish for some and the patient wait for others is, you can say, is like surely almost over. And I'd like to say that it's just watching that 12-minute video, which I have done, Boom, it's definitely a feather in Joseph Staten's cap. I hope I've pronounced his surname correctly, and whoever else has been fundamental to the project's turnaround and revitalization, right? And you can sense from everybody the contrast and almost like a different attitude, right? From the consumer side of you, but also when you place someone in charge of a product, project who's truly invested, right? A truly invested party, or a mindful and a kind of, how to put this, a fostering creative producer, right? And what sort of a difference that he can make versus someone who's mainly, sees it as a spreadsheet endeavor, right? And you need a balance, right? And it's something that's plagued Microsoft's ability to move forward in the past, right? Which they seem to be addressing quite aggressively this time around. So sorry for my throat, Boom.
That's okay, brother. Yeah, have a spot of tea. I think you'll be okay.
Yeah, no, definitely. I will grab one in a minute. But just to finish my point off, Boom, if you don't mind, I know we're pressed for time.
No, go ahead.
Game development should be pleasurable, should be a pleasurable vocation, and it needs to be fun. And many producers or bosses, when addressing or speaking to you in this games industry, because that's one of the main industries that I've sort of been in, so I can talk about that, make you feel low, and they kind of make you feel like almost at knee height, right? Because they hold a position over you or are too focused on sort of basking in their own brilliance. And then you have those who make you feel this high, right? Because they are really that good, right? And if you can sort of imagine me raising my hand sort of way above my head, right, as a point of measure. And as I've said before on the show, not so many fall into sort of this second category. And I think you can guess which heading or legend, right, Herr Staten falls under. Sorry, I'm just making sure that Archimedes is awake. And I think I think Joseph and members of his team deserve a well-deserved rest. You could see from the video, Boom, and sorry, I observe things slightly differently sometimes, but you can see, right, some of them seem quite tired but exhilarated at the same time.
Oh, there's definitely a sigh of relief. I would even dare say that there's a monkey been taken off their back.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm glad that they're reaching the finishing line. And just to finish, to address Archimedes' point, which I thought was a really important one regarding people's comments regarding visuals and visual style. Yes, many are finding ways to sort of critique technical or graphical issues or raising the topics of visual preferences, which is quite an impotent thing to do, right? If the agenda is simply to ridicule or scoff at any game at all, right? And which I would say is sadly the case on social media. But as I say, Boom, given my limited perspective, I sense that Halo is going to be sort of widely embraced this holiday season, if all goes well. And I think that just bodes really well for Xbox. So 10 out of 10.
Yeah, no, great stuff as always. Listen, folks, this is, I mean, what could you say? It's a very exciting time. Halo is in the voices of gamers, and for the right reasons. Listen. It is what it is. What I want to do is I want to bring up the second topic because we only have Joe for another half an hour, and then we're going to go right into the Paris Lily hosted event, which is on the Xbox channel. We're going to be reacting live. That's a 90-minute program. I only thought it was an hour until this morning. Otherwise, I would have started the show a little bit later. But you know what? You guys are going to get an extra half an hour of coverage. Like I said, even if I can't get people to hang out, I will be here for the remainder. With you, and we'll be.
I'll stay with you, Boom.
Oh, awesome! Oh, well, there you go, awesome. And
I'm here for you, baby.
There you go. All right, so then we have and we'll see if we can get VJ to hang around. But I know we're gonna get some stuff from Ninja Theory. I know we're getting some stuff from who else is gonna be there? There's Ninja Theory. Obsidian is gonna be there as well. So it's gonna be an interesting thing. But I have to, there's, as a content creator, you get so excited that sometimes I trip my own words. And I got to talk about contraband. And I'm not talking about like real contraband because I'm an extra police officer. And if you have contraband, please don't tell me about it because you know what? I may have to make a call to the authorities. But I have to talk about the new information surrounding the new IP from Avalanche Studios and, of course, their partners, Xbox Game Studios, and we're talking about Contraband. Now, this game has the potential to be something very special, and we're going to discuss the article. Now, this comes to us from Xbox Wire, which, of course, is the official mouthpiece of anything and everything that is Xbox, and that's xboxwire.com. This is what they had to say about Contraband in a new article that was released this week, and it says this: 3 years ago, we started talking with our partners at Xbox Game Studios about what a co-op smuggler's paradise would look like and how we could bring it to life together. Today, At the Xbox and Bethesda Games Showcase, we finally announced what our team has been working on, Contraband. Now, Contraband is a co-op smuggler's paradise set in a fictional world in the 1970s in a place called Bayan. And according to the article, it's their most ambitious and spectacular game to date. We are taking everything that we've learned from the 18 years of being at the forefront of creating beautiful, vast open worlds, filled with stunning vistas and incredible emergent gameplay moments. To fully deliver on our vision of Contraband, we have an amazing team at Avalanche Studios that are pushing the boundaries with the next generation of our Apex engine, the technology behind all of our games, including the Just Cause series. We built the engine to unlock the creativity of our developers, and we're excited to take full advantage of the unique capabilities of the Xbox Series S and X, basically confirming that this is next gen only. We can't wait to share more about Contraband and the world of Bayan in the coming months and weeks. Hey, listen, Joe, before we get you out of here, brother, listen, we don't know much about this game, but what we do know is that it's an Xbox exclusive. B, it's an Avalanche Studios, and again, if you know their work, if you're a fan of what they can do, whether you love Just Cause or hate it, that game has some unbelievable moments, and more importantly, the way that they structure the world that allows the world to be your basically playground has me very, very excited. What are your thoughts on what the Xbox Wire had to say regarding Contraband, it being a co-op smuggler's paradise?
First, Contraband is like Contraband's like drugs and stuff, right?
That
Or
is correct,
like
sir.
weapons?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So just wanted to ask the expert because I'm like, are they stealing rupees or what are they doing? So honestly, this was one of the trailers that could have left this conference and I wouldn't have cared either way. Honest to goodness. And this is just like me with everything, y'all. I keep the same energy on a lot of things. I'm not excited for God of War. Like I am, but like this is as much excitement as you're going to get because I don't know what that game looks like, right? I just saw a PNG image. I wasn't excited for the Elden Ring, or I'm this level.
Well, now you are because obviously there's
because I haven't seen gameplay or even like a true CG trailer giving me an idea of what the game should be. Because a CG trailer, a good one, should tell me exactly what this game is, which it kind of jokingly did via the pictures on the thing, but I want to see it in action. I want to see what the idea that they have. It's kind of like when PlayStation announced like the Deviation partnership. They're like, we can't tell you what game we're working on right now because we're super early, but let me tell you, when we have something, it's going to be wild. It's like, why did you even announce this? So for me, I'm just like, it sounds fun, but like this is the energy I hold. Until I see the gameplay, that's when I'm going to be like, okay, I'm all ears. Like that Elden Ring trailer is so freaking good.
Yeah.
And it just looks so amazing that I watch it every day to just feel alive again. To just get that remnants of what that feeling was when I first saw it.
I love it.
Like, are you kidding me? Oh my God, it looks so good. So that's kind of the it's not contentment. It's just like the I guess indifference. Because I'm indifferent towards it, I think would be the right adjective, I think. Is that an adjective? The right word I'd use. Just because I haven't seen enough, you know. But other than that, like I know Avalanche does great work. I liked and enjoyed Rage 2 for the most part, other than the story. I've never played Just Cause, but I am very much I've heard good things about it. So I know that they can do an open world and they could do it well if they get enough funds to do it. And so with this, I'm excited. You know, this is how excited I am. I'm like, here I am.
I mean, listen, that's fair. I mean, there really wasn't much to go on. It was very similar of a trailer to Indiana Jones last year. It kind of just peered across the desk and you saw the whip, you saw that. I mean, you saw the idol. You get excited because obviously, I mean, it's an Indiana Jones games and very much similar to this. Contraband is a new IP. I think that's what's exciting. And one of the biggest, I think, complaints from many gamers, including within the Xbox ecosystem has been the lack of new IPs, and this has the potential. Again, the game is not even out yet, so we don't know if it's going to generate a sequel. But obviously,
honestly, it like from trailers that show technically no gameplay, like Redfall actually has me excited, and I'm ready to thirst over the girl Layla. I think her name is.
Yes.
Well, very attractive young woman, but or CG pixels, but like for that game, I at least have a vague idea of what that game is. So like just looking at it, I know it's going to be a squad class-based multiplayer game where I'm running around this open world fighting these different type of vampires that look absolutely nuts and have a cult behind them. Like I saw that through the trailer, and that's where I'm like, okay, I'm excited about this. But like I think the Contraband trailer is more showing what via the music, what the vibe is going after there. So yeah.
Well, real quick, Black Ronin in the chat says, "Hey man, my daughter's name is Layla. Thirst over the other girl." I love it. I love the interaction of this chat. Well, listen, dude. Hopefully your daughter's doing well. Thanks for being here, Black Ronin. Definitely appreciate that. And that, in fact, was funny as H. But Joe, listen, I know we you can't hang out anymore. Got to get you on out of here. Thanks for coming by. Definitely appreciate the honest opinion and the excitement for Halo. Cannot wait to game with you and see how bad Luke Lore really is in Halo.
He's actually, I'm like, he's decent. I you know how much I like to trash him, but like, yeah, he's all right.
I know. I'm just messing with you. Well, listen, enjoy the rest of your day, Joe. We will definitely see you soon. Let's get Boxing Bear in on the conversation. Again, not much to go on, but at least we got some idea of what they're looking to do, what this game is going to be. I mean, could it be a Nathan Drake type of game where you're, smuggling, potentially contraband, but you're not really a bad guy? Because they showed treasure. So when they say contraband, I don't necessarily know if they're talking drugs or they're just talking about, stolen treasure or whatever. But all I know is that there's the potential to have a co-op Nathan Drake style type of open world game. I say yes, please. What are your thoughts?
Okay, my first thought is a question. You make it sound like Contraband is not just a title, but it means something. What is Contraband? I've never heard it before. I thought it's just a name for the game.
No, it's actually what police officers would consider like drugs. So, you have any contraband on you, like whatever that may be? Yeah. So
I've never heard that expression before. So thank you. I learned something. And now my thoughts on the game. Like Joe said, we don't have much to go on, but all I can do is look at the track record of the studio. The Avalanche Group launched a couple of actually very, in my opinion, underrated games. I really enjoyed the Just Cause games. They are not serious games, no doubt, but man, especially Just Cause 3, even though it ran like crap on the Xbox One, it was just so much fun to blow stuff up. They nailed that feeling to just go nuts in an open world. With Just Cause 4, they went a little bit too big, in my opinion. The open world was a little bit empty, but still a lot of fun to play the game. And Rage 2 is one of the most underrated open world shooters.
I loved Rage.
I loved Rage 2.
Hours into it, it's absurd.
Yeah, it's really good. And so just going off, and don't forget about Mad Max. Probably not game of the generation, definitely not, but still a fun game to play. So going from that to now a very well-funded development process for Contraband, and with the technology that they have available across not just the Bethesda studios, but also across the Xbox studios. Because what people really forget is that they only launched one game within the Bethesda studios, that was Rage 2. All the other games before were not launched within the Bethesda group, Just Cause games were published by Square Enix, Mad Max by Warner Brothers, and so on. So they were relatively new to to Bethesda or the ZeniMax group, and now they got even better and bigger fundings within the Xbox game studios, and that alone has me excited because I really like their over-the-top action games in an open world where you can just go crazy and do weird things, blow up stuff that you cannot do in other games. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, that makes two of us. And again, something new IP that's an exclusive, which is even more impressive. And again, obviously, with the monies being backed by Microsoft, you can understand that there's going to be some serious oomph in the development of this game. And we don't know when this is coming, but when it does come out, hopefully it is going to be one of those IPs that people buy an Xbox for. But Josh 64, let's get your opinion on this. Contraband, not much to go on, but at least the article gave us an idea. Are you excited to see what they bring to the table? And does a Nathan Drake type of game in co-op sound interesting to you?
You know, this was the one trailer that it was like, okay, you guys get one. You know what I mean? Like this, okay, you can have this one. But we have no, like, does that style of game sound fun to me? I'll be honest. I tried playing Uncharted and I didn't really get into them all that much. When it comes to like the PlayStation games, I love God of War. Like I've had a great time with that series. Uncharted isn't really a series I've spent all that much time with, so it's not something that really excites me. That being said, I watched my son play a lot of the Just Cause games. He really loved just the just how crazy and over the top they were and stuff. So I was really left just more curious than anything else. Like, what are we going to see from this game? What is it going to offer? Because other than there was some mud on that Jeep, I don't really know what to expect. So if that's the style of game, third person action adventure with RPG elements, they got to get all of them in there, right? I hope it's amazing. I hope after seeing it in action that it is something that gets me more excited. But as of right now, I'm kind of like Mr. Badbit, and I'm just like, okay, like I'm kind of just left out in the dark.
Well, that's fair. That's a fair point. We don't really have much, but again, it was just simple. It was a simple announcement trailer. But let's get to VJ before I transition over as we wait for the start of the Xbox show. VJ, from a marketing manager's point of view, not from a gamer's point of view. Again, E3 is meant to, show off new trailers. This game obviously is very early in development, but we did get an announcement trailer for a new IP that is, of course, an exclusive to Xbox. Did it do what it needed to do? And are you interested in potentially, an Indiana Jones meets Nathan Drake meets Tomb Raider type of, loot, treasure hunting co-op romp through a fictional, world?
Yeah, one of my other prerequisites for the Xbox E3 show was to showcase diversity and quality and sell us on future promise for the long term. And I felt Contraband. I haven't seen the anything in addition to the short trailer that we saw, but I feel Contraband or Schmugelware, I hope I've pronounced that right for Box and Bear, ticks that box. But sorry, Archimedes. I had to.
All good.
I couldn't resist. I looked at the trailer. Well, I observed the trailer, I should say, Boom, and it's difficult to take anything away from it other than the premise, or should I say the essence and the heart of it. And I think that's touched many people. And I think that is why, Boom, it's a topic today, because it hits the spot in terms of creativity and intrigue. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not the biggest fan of co-op games, and I'm not entirely sure if there will be an option to play this game, with a companion AI, for example. If you feel so inclined to do so, that would really push me towards keeping it on my checklist. I haven't played Mad Max. However, from what I've heard from friends that have played the game, say it's really good. and a game that could have been great. Just Cause 4, I kind of sensed from a quick look that it was a mixed bag, and Rage 2 I really know nothing about. So 3 games developed for 3 different publishers, and Avalanche, I was having, again, just from perusing on Wikipedia, they seem to have a huge team and access to more than sufficient amounts of capital to work with and produce great concepts with, and perhaps even work on pre-production and concept trailers on their own, right, before they approach publishers. For me, though, Avalanche may have a seat, may not have a seat, should I say, on the main table of, say, superstar studios. And they're perhaps on the table in close proximity to that main table. But I think, as Archimedes said, right, with the support of Xbox, not just financially, obviously, there's so many other things that a first party or a platform holder can offer you, right, in terms of analytics and technical support. I think, given that there's a potential that Avalanche, and hopefully there's a team, right? How can I put this? Have kind of learned from their own internal reviews or postmortems and taken on constructive public critique surrounding the previous 3 releases that I announced, and kind of improve aspects of their teams, their tools, and so on and so forth. And perhaps that's why Xbox has bought into them, right? And as I say, Xbox will afford and support Avalanche with many more resources than just finance for the next game. And it may be a very good game. I hope it is, Boom. And but we'll all have to wait and see. But one thing is for sure, certain for me, this show, not just Avalanche, and the other shows, sort of like in and around, sort of preceding E3 and afterwards, showed me that the quality of publishers and sort of creative talent emerging from Scandinavia and Sweden, specifically is quite phenomenal, right? And I'm not just talking about the usual suspects such as Embracer Group, King or Mojang, but some of the other guys like Raw Fury and Thunderful, I think which are Swedish-based publishers, and some of the games that they were showcasing. So they definitely have the talent and the resource in Scandinavia, and especially in Sweden, where Avalanche are. So yeah, it's a really interesting move by Xbox. So definitely one to keep an eye out for.
Absolutely, and it's something to again, like you just said, keep an eye out for. I'm assuming that as we get closer to other events, and potentially and more so next year, we'll start getting more information about what this particular game is. But folks, what I'm going to do is I'm going to transition over to, of course, sharing the screen with you to the Xbox event that's happening momentarily. I'm going to bring that up on the screen right now. Let me share my audio. Let me get everything ready to go. And here we go, folks. We are there. I'm going to bring the screen up big for you. And let me just do this right now. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this. So before we the show starts, and I'll start, of course, with Boxenberger. What are you expecting here? To be honest, are you expecting anything big?
Depends on your definition of big. The thing is, I don't expect any new announcements. I don't think they will reveal, for instance, like the Compulsion game or something like that. I don't think that. They said it's mainly developers, interview with developers, giving insight. And to be honest, that can be sometimes more interesting than a CGI trailer. And so I'm really looking forward to see that. We will get Ninja Theory in there. They will provide a little update on how the development on Hellblade 2 goes. We get Obsidian. They probably will talk about Avowed. Don't think they will talk a lot about Outer Worlds 2. But Avowed, one of my most anticipated games from the Xbox Game Studios. So I can't wait to get an update there. But I don't think we will get any footage or something like that. It's more like developers, probably some shots from the studios. You will see people working on their computers, on the game, something like that. That doesn't mean it's not interesting. On the contrary, like I said, it tells you sometimes more than the CGI trailers. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, that makes 2 of us. Again, Ninja Theory is going to be there. Obsidian's going to be there. I'm expecting, for 90 minutes, they got to do something for everyone. And obviously, as you can see on the screen, folks, I'm going to be able to open that all the way up as soon as it starts. Right now, I don't have the ability to make it bigger because obviously it's just a thumbnail. But when the show goes live, I'm going to open it up so you can get a full screen view of it. Well, actually, well, yeah, I can do that. I can do that. Yeah, there you go. And we will, of course, open that up even further once it starts. But let me get Josh. Josh, let me grab your opinion on this, brother. What are you expecting from today's showcase? I mean, it's 90 minutes, you know, so I mean, they got to show us something.
Yeah, I really don't know what to expect, but the fact that we know there's going to be kind of like interviews, I love anything that's behind the scenes. I love getting the behind the scenes interviews allow for just greater connection to the devs, which just that alone just gets me more hyped for the games. And I think, you know, what I'm going to be paying attention the most to is 343. What else are we going to find out about Halo Infinite? That's where basically all my energy is focused right now, is on Halo. The other stuff is great. I'm glad we're going to find out more information and maybe even in some cases get some information like with Ninja Theory and what's going on there. And so I'm just excited that Xbox is extending E3. We're, you know, another 90 minutes worth of info. And shout out to Paris, you know, congrats to him for landing this gig. I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, that's a big get for him. Obviously, if you remember a couple of weeks ago, he tweeted a picture of both Phil Spencer and Aaron Greenberg over his house having dinner. And I thought that now we know what that meeting was all about. But obviously, good on him. He has made some incredible strides in this community, as well as just the gaming community. Obviously, he has always been a part of Gamertag Radio. He is now a part of Kinda Funny Games and their Xbox show that airs weekly with Gary Witta and, of course, Snowbike Mike. I look forward. That's one of the shows I do tune into each and every week that it's available. And I look forward to seeing what else he's going to do. But it's definitely great to see what he's up to. VJ, let's grab your opinion on this before we go live. We have 3 minutes till it premieres. What are you expecting from this next 90-minute Xbox, extended edition of the showcase?
Just to be quick, Boom, I think it seems like a really carefully prepped and sort of official presentation. And, you know, I know it says like E3 extended. Now, is that like an extended movie or is it a load of extras? I don't know. But for 90 minutes, I think that they will definitely shed some light on proceedings, especially over at Obsidian and Ninja Theory, which weren't present at the show. And you know how keen this panel is, right? Whenever those two studios pop up in the news. So I understand Archimedes' reservations in terms of we may not see very much, but you know, there's so many studio documentaries out there. How different can it be? So I expect at least, how can I put it, drops of honey, Boom, that will catch our eye, and hopefully a lot more. So I'm very much looking forward to it, Boom, and let's see what they'll show us.
Yeah. Well, we're 2 minutes out, folks. 60 seconds now. And obviously, once that goes down, we're going to blow up the screen for you so you can enjoy it. We have over 500 people already here watching. Hopefully, we can get some more people to hang out. If you are someone that appreciates the work that goes into the live content per week, tweet this out. Let people know what we're doing. I don't think there are many podcasts that are actually covering this. I think I'm one of the few. Obviously, being retired definitely helps. And if you are here enjoying the content, please consider hitting that like button. And if you are new to the channel, consider subscribing to Double Barrel Gaming, because this is the kind of content you're going to get fun, thought-provoking, and more importantly, real opinions from real gamers. Folks, we are under 30 seconds to kick off. I am very excited. I cannot wait to see what they bring to the table. So let's all have a good time. You're going to get an extended edition. And here we go.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I mean, while we wait, I I want to say something. What I've seen across social media over the last couple of days is so much positivity towards the Xbox brand. I haven't seen that in I can't remember if we've ever been had so much positivity around Xbox. They really hit the nail on the head with that E3 presentation, and people are just hyped for the future of Xbox. It's just awesome to see.
Yeah, no, I absolutely. It is absolutely exciting to see. And obviously, the nearly 23,000 people waiting for this event to start tells me that, yes, Xbox is back in a big way. And it's a very exciting time for Xbox. And I'm happy that we are here. I'm happy to be a part of this. And I'm glad that you folks, 500 plus people, are here to, of course, celebrate Xbox with us. And like I said, I'm just waiting for this to start. As soon as it starts, folks, we are going to open up that screen for you, and we're going to sit here in awe and watch as hopefully there's some new information on what is going on. Here we go. Here we go.
Go full screen, Boom.
If there is wonder, right place in our dreams, we can disappear into.
All right, just 1 second,
a
folks.
world
Just bring one moment.
Bring me that horizon.
If we can imagine and know what it we can fall into the blue.
Man, what a time to be an Xbox fan. Holy crap.
Hello, and welcome to Xbox Game
Look at
Showcase
Paris Lily and
Extended.
his bad
I'm your
self.
host, Paris Lily. You may also know me from Gamertag Radio and Kinda Funny. I'm excited to be here with you today. We just saw a recap of Sunday's Xbox Showcase, and wow, 30 games from some of the world's most talented developers, and 27 of those games are coming to you on Xbox Game Pass. We saw the first in-engine footage of Starfield and learned that, yes, Bethesda is bringing it to Xbox, PC, and day one on Game Pass exclusively. They also showed us Battlefield 2042, Sea of Thieves, A Pirate's Life,
Wow, really?
Stalker
What-
2,
all right.
Psychonauts 2, and how about Redfall? Like they said, this year, Xbox is all about the games. Today, Xbox Game Showcase Extended is our chance to hear from the developers behind the games that are redefining interactive entertainment. Developers like Double Fine, Playground Games, Supergiant, Rare, 343 Industries, and more. We also have a new accessory design program to share with you, and a couple of other cool surprises. That's enough talk. Let's jump right in.
Guys, how's the audio for you guys?
It's a little distorted.
Really? You know what? I'm gonna have to stop it and jump back in, guys. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to get back. I'm gonna have to try it again, folks. Sorry about that. I don't want to lose anybody, but
All good, brother. The show will go on as as you got to reload. You're going to bounce all the way out, right?
hold on just a second. Let me share the audio. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened.
We're doing it live.
I'm doing it live, folks. I'm gonna lose everybody here, but listen, this is it is what it is. Here we go.
Driving fans to Colorado, France, Italy, Australia, and the UK. How did you decide on Mexico for Forza Horizon 5?
Yeah, so we knew right from the start that we wanted it to be the largest Horizon yet. But it's not far down the path from that you realize you don't want to go big if it's just going to be more of the same. So we also knew that
How's
it
the
needs to be
audio
the
now,
most
guys?
contrasting, most diverse open world we'd ever built.
Sounds way better.
Let's look at Mexico.
It's better?
It really is like the whole world in one
Okay.
country. It's got snowy peaks, tropical jungles, epic canyons, amazing beaches, beautiful architecture, incredible historic cities, but also modern cities as well. It really has everything. And then you add in the culture, the music, the artwork, the people, the history. And there really is no more exciting location for the Horizon Festival.
Now that we're in Mexico, what are some of the authentic elements that we can expect in the game?
Yeah, totally. So we've got the largest and most diverse world we've ever built. And as I mentioned just a moment ago, something that really excited us about Mexico is the culture. So we've worked with creatives from all across Mexico. We've had Mexican artists produce beautiful mural artwork that you'll find on the walls around the game. We've worked with Mexican music acts to produce original compositions for the game. We've worked with Mexican scriptwriters and actors so that all of those Mexican voices you hear in the game will sound really authentic. And perhaps not as obvious, but the other thing that is super authentic is all of our light data and skies. So we had a team out in Mexico with our 12K HDR sky capture rig. We captured more than 400 hours of sky data, and then we recreate that in game. So all of the light, the shadows, the color information, all of it is recreated in game based on real light data captured from Mexico. So everything you're seeing there just has that real authenticity, that feeling of reality.
Now, we got a peek at Event Lab. Now, what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so Event Lab is a really exciting new suite of tools that will allow people in the community to create whatever they can imagine, really. If we look at the video right now, all of this that we see has been built using that Event Lab tool set. The bowling pins that have been placed, so someone's gone along, they've placed those, and then they've created rules that touch on them as well. So as we see, every time they're hitting them, a rule has been set up such that it gives players points. And then also in that clip, you can see that everyone else in that multiplayer session is hitting bowling pins as well. And all of that is adding into a collective team score. The rules could have easily been set up so that it wasn't a team score, that it was competitive. All of that creative freedom is open to players. It's as a game designer, I think it's the feature that I'm most excited about in Forza Horizon 5.
And I would say as a gamer, it's a feature I'm definitely excited about because this really is going to open up some unique features between me and my friends. Now, with the power of the Xbox Series X and the S, what are some of the new technical features that we can expect?
So in Forza Vista, we're really able to turn up everything, ramp everything on, turn on ray tracing, and we have the cars looking more realistic than they ever have before, unparalleled detail. But that detail, it does apply to the rest of the world as well. During the Xbox E3 showcase the other day, I mentioned we'd modeled the detail on everything, right down to the individual needles on the Choya cactus. That was just the plants that happened to be closest to the camera at that point. That level of detail is applied to everything that you see. And thanks to the power of the Xbox Series consoles, it's not just things that are right in front of the camera as well. We've really been able to push out all of the LODs and the draw distance and everything so that everything in the scene is full of that detail. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we capture that light data from Mexico. So you get this realistic lighting, shadows, AO, all of it comes together to create a scene that just looks real.
Now, Mike, when can the world expect to play Forza Horizon 5?
Sure. So we're launching this holiday on the Xbox Series consoles, the Xbox One consoles. We're on PC, on both the Windows 10 Store and Steam. Of course, we're in Game Pass and Game Pass Ultimate. And you can play us on your Android device with Xbox Cloud Gaming.
That's dope.
And players who purchase the Premium Edition, or if they're a Game Pass subscriber and get the Premium Add-ons bundle, you'll get early access as well. So you'll be able to play a little bit earlier than everybody else.
Now, Mike, this was a huge moment for you and the team. What does this mean to you?
Yeah, well, for me personally, I mean, I've been working on the Forza franchise for a really, really long time, but this is my first game as creative director. So in this period over the last few days and week or so, as people are seeing it for the first time, for me, it's probably been one of the most exciting experiences of my life. It's been absolutely incredible.
Again, Mike, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Later in the show, we'll be hearing from the developers behind games like Age of Empires 4, Shredders, and Grounded. But first, the team at Ninja Theory has something to share with you. Here's Tamim, Chief Creative Ninja, to explain what they've been hard at work on for Hellblade 2.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our brand spanking new Ninja House in Cambridge. I wanted to give you an update on the work so far for Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. What we're doing right now is building a good chunky slice of the game before we then move into full production to build out the rest. Hellblade was very special for us, and we didn't want to do a straight sequel. We wanted to do something extra special. And so we're making our lives as difficult as possible in that pursuit. The game is set in Iceland, 9th century Iceland. So we've been sending out art and audio teams out there, doing photography, photogrammetry, and combining it with satellite data to recreate large swathes of the landscape. On the character front, we're building real costumes, scanning them in. We're collaborating with Epic Games to bring you next-generation digital characters. On the combat front, we want it to be extra real and brutal. And so Melina, our main actress, has been training for 2 years, and all of our animators have undergone combat training. And so what you're going to see here is not a trailer, it's not a gameplay reveal, but rather a montage of the kind of work we've been up to. Hope you like it.
Will you follow me on this journey? By sea, by land, and dreams, through the valleys of despair, over the mountains of rage, to the depths of fear in my mind. You might see me as weak, but I will show you what lies behind my eyes. With our swords, we will forge new stories
to strike the gods that haunt us. We will embrace our suffering, soothe our scars of grief, and break their siege of our minds. They may see them as gods, but we will show them what lies behind our eyes.
Gau er I á fjalli, yndis njóta.
Boxenberger, did you get that first piece? Did you think it was gameplay?
I'm not really sure. No, I don't think so.
Look at what's back.
But
Yeah,
it
I'm
looks
glad.
awesome.
It's about
gonna
time,
be-
dude. Yeah. That's kind of dope. I think I'm gonna order one. I got too many damn controllers.
And that is Xbox Design Lab. And here to tell us more about Xbox Design Lab is Naveen Kumar. Naveen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Paris.
So, what is Xbox Design Lab?
Design Lab is a controller customization service on Xbox.com where you can choose nearly any color combination you want for your controller and really make it yours. You can design a controller based off your favorite video game character, your favorite sports team, or whatever inspires you. You can think of Design Lab as your own personal design studio. Now, we've originally launched Design Lab 5 years ago and have since sold millions of controllers to fans around the world. But then we had to take a pause as we brought up our latest generation of Xbox hardware. But now we're back offering customization on the latest generation Xbox wireless controller.
Now, we have so many awesome controllers here right now. Can you kind of talk a little bit about them?
Yeah, well, right off the bat, you can see there's tons of color options to choose from. For most of the parts on the controller, you can choose among 18 different colors for all the different pieces on the exterior. 3 of those colors are brand new to Design Lab. We have Shock Blue, Pulse Red, and my personal favorite, the Electric Volt color. Most of the colors include post-consumer recycled resins in them. So there's a portion of things that are ground up, like automotive headlights, recycled water bottle jugs, things that make the controller more eco-friendly. We also have new button options for the ABXY button set and the View Menu Share, including a really cool button option for ABXY that's a throwback to the original Xbox 360 controller. So you got to check that out. And yeah, this is just the beginning. We're excited to introduce more customization options over time.
Now, 2 of these controllers were inspired by games. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so there's a blue and green and purple one that's inspired by Psychonauts 2. We just love the key art for that one, so we work with our partners to develop a controller to help bring that to life. And there's also one that's inspired by Grounded and the aphid character from that game. We had a lot of fun in designing that as well, as the controller kind of looks like an aphid if you look at it from the right angles.
Now, I created my own controller. I'm going to pick it up now. I'm a huge Los Angeles Lakers fan. World champion Los Angeles Lakers. And my design was inspired by that. So I went with the yellow on the front. I went with the purple on the back. I designed the buttons kind of with the black accent along with the shoulders and the triggers. But I also did an inscription on it. And my inscription says, Ka can't cook. And that is inspired by my good friend, Khalif Adams. He does a fantastic show called Spawn on Me, but he's a terrible cook. So I want to make sure that every time I pick up a controller to play on Xbox, I'm reminded how terrible of a cook he is and to avoid it at all costs. But enough of terrible cooking. Let's talk about something that you designed.
Yeah, I designed this controller right in front of me here. Again, on my favorite color, this Electric Volt. I just love the way that the midnight blue accents pop against it. the dark ABXY colors. And this one's inspired by a pair of sneakers I have at home. So I had to make a controller based on that.
That's kind of dope.
That's awesome. Now, one last thing. When can fans expect to start designing their own Xbox controllers?
They can start today by visiting
Oh, hell yeah. Let's go.
xbox.com/Xbox Design Lab. There's tons of inspirations to choose from. Customization is really fun. And we're shipping controllers to US, Canada, and most Western European countries. And these make great gifts, whether it's for yourself or that special gamer in your life.
That is fantastic. Naveen, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Paris.
Later in the show, World's Edge will give us a deeper look at Age of Empires 4. But first, Tim Schafer is giving us a closer look at Psychonauts 2.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tim Schafer from Double Fine Productions here today to take a deeper look into Psychonauts 2. Psychonauts 2 is an action-adventure game starring Rasputin Aquato, a powerful young psychic, also a trained acrobat, who ran away from his circus home to join the Psychonauts and expand and explore his psychic abilities. One of Raz's most important psychic abilities is that of astral projection, which allows him to project his psyche into someone else's mind and see their mental landscape made real. He can help them wrestle with their inner demons and fight their actual nightmares in person, which means that the levels in the game are actually brains. And Psychonauts 2 has even more brains than the first game. One of the first brains you'll get to visit is that of Caligosto Lobato. Now, Dr. Lobato was actually a villain in the first game, but after Raz fought him, they kind of became friends. He actually has a piece of information that Raz wants, which is who kidnapped Truman Zanotto. And Dr. Lobato wants to tell you, but he can't because of something going on deep in his unconscious mind. So Raz has to travel along with Sasha, Mia, and Coach Oleander into his mind and try to extract the information.
Man.
And there's a lot of forces at work inside Lobato's mind, maybe put there by someone else, who are trying to stop you, including some of the enemies that you might recognize from the first Psychonauts game, including the censors, entities designed to stamp out thoughts that don't belong in someone's mind, including Raz, who doesn't belong here. They also see a lot of new enemies, such as doubts and regrets. Lobato's mind is plagued with doubts and regrets, and they're very dangerous for Raz. Did I mention there's a lot of teeth? Have I mentioned there's a lot of teeth? There's a lot of teeth. He's an amateur dentist. He doesn't know a lot about teeth.
Yeah, Daniel Hayes, I think you're right, brother. I think this is a sleeper game.
Raz will have his psychic powers, including his powerful psychic punch, where he has these hands that extend psychically from his body into a powerful melee combo. He also has his psychic blast, where he can shoot a powerful energy beam out of his brain. Raz also has the ability of pyrokinesis. It's always handy to be able to burn things with your mind. And levitation. Raz can use his own thoughts, his own thought bubble over his head as a balloon to float around or ride around on to get somewhere really quickly.
Dude, that looks
so with
gorgeous.
these new powers, Raz can fight all these new enemies and hopefully find out who kidnapped Truman Zanotto. Now, while Truman's been kidnapped, the person running the Psychonauts is Hollis Forsyth, the second head of the Psychonauts. Hollis is also the head of the intern program, which is what Raz has joined now that he's become part of the Psychonauts. And he is invited into Hollis's brain for instruction. Hollis is teaching him a new psychic ability called mental connection, where you can see two thoughts in someone's mind and connect them, sometimes creating new thoughts, making new things happen. While Raz is training in mental connection inside of Hollis's mental classroom, he experiments a little too far and accidentally, maybe slightly on purpose, creates a lot of interesting gambling inside of Hollis's mind because he wants to go on the mission to the Lady Electopus Casino. Unfortunately, this connection leads to more connections, and eventually the whole thing gets out of Raz's control, and Hollis gets way too interested in gambling. And Raz has to go back into her mind, where he finds out that her memories of medical school, and where she studied neurology, have been corrupted by this gambling interest, and it becomes a casino hospital. And Raz has to actually go in there and engage with all these gambling machines in order to shut it down and return Hollis's mind back to normal. And she's gonna be really mad. Inside Hollis's mind, you'll see bigger, tougher sensors that have turned into bouncers inside the casino, and also a new enemy called Bad Idea. Bad Ideas spawn actual nasty-looking light bulbs over their head that become dangerously explosive.
Boxenberger, what are your thoughts on this game, man? We've seen a lot in the
one of the things that
3
happens
minutes.
in Psychonauts
This
2
game
that's most
looks
exciting
gorgeous.
to Raz is that he gets to
I made
visit
it
the
2
headquarters
weeks
of the
ago
Psychonauts
saying
themselves,
this is a true
which is called
sleeper
the
hit on
Mother Lode.
Xbox.
This is the center for all Psychonauts activity.
It's fantastic.
And Raz
The first one was
his
fun,
old friend
such a
Sasha Sasha and
special
Mia, who
humor,
were counselors
and
at
with
summer camp in the
with
first game, he now
Double
gets to
Fine
see where
games,
they
you
work. He gets to see
will
their
always
offices,
get
he gets to see
surprised
their
with
labs,
gameplay
he gets to see
elements.
their coworkers,
Just remember
other
Brutal
agents
Legend,
in the
that
field, but
was
also
a
he gets to see the
third-person action adventure,
admin and
and later
maintenance
became
staff
a
as they go about their
real-time
business and hang
strategy
out in the
game. So
cafeteria, and
you
sort
never
of
know
everyday
what's going to
happenings
happen.
of
I'm really
what
looking
life, what
forward to
appears
this
to be
one.
normal in the Psychonauts world.
Yeah,
There are a lot
I'm right
of
there
little
with you,
hidden
brother.
pathways and
There's a lot
treasures
of people in
around
the
the
chat are
base that
saying
you
that
can
this is a
find,
sleeper hit
side quests
of
and
this
scavenger
year
hunts and
and
things that
Game
you might
Pass day
recognize from the first
one,
game.
man. I mean,
There's a lot of characters
yes,
to meet, a lot of
please.
fun things to discover, a lot of secrets about the Psychonauts themselves, and the
I
lore of
recently
the
went
founding of
back
the
and
Psychonauts,
played
including the
for
Psychic
an
Six,
hour or so
who
the first
were
one
seen
again
on
to
stumps
see
around the
how it
campfire in
held
the
up,
first
and
game, but now we
it
get to go
aged
much
really
deeper
well.
into the
It's
story of
you can
how
really
they
play
played a
that
part
very
in the founding of the Psychonauts.
very good right
How
now
they were brought
on
together and
Game Pass.
recruited by Ford
Fantastic
Kroger
game.
and turned into this amazing international espionage force. One of the things that was so important about the first game was exploring this natural environment around the summer camp, all the little hidden paths and caves where Raz's adventures took place. And so in the second game, we've expanded on that. There's an even bigger natural environment, multiple natural environments around the headquarters that you can explore. There's a quarry outside the Mother Lobe, which is where they dug out these massive deposits of titanium. Titanium, this psychoreactive mineral that amplifies and changes psychic powers. There's lots of secrets around the quarry, lots of abandoned mines and caves and things to explore. And next door to the quarry is an abandoned roadside attraction called the Questionable Area, a sort of power vortex of strange happenings, which is also caused by the titanium deposits
This
in the
looks
area.
beautiful.
Water flows uphill. Animals behave strangely.
It really does,
There's
dude.
caves dedicated to the mystery of the Sasquatch, which is a giant one-eyed being that might have existed and might not have. Here in the questionable area, Raz's family is camped out, his entire family, as if to embarrass him in front of his new Psychonauts friends. His family has showed up and they want him back in the circus. It turns out some of his family members, including his own father, have a little bit of psychic power themselves, and they'll be exploring that in Psychonauts 2, and you'll get to find out who put this curse on Raz's family to die in water. The Quados have been cursed by a mysterious character to all die in water, and this manifests itself in the form of the Hand of Galokio, which is this hand that comes out of the water, which is really just Raz's psychic construct. Raz is so afraid of water because of the curse put on his family that every time he comes near water, this creepy hand comes out and tries to grab him and pull him under, which is all happening inside of Raz's head. In Psychonauts 2, you'll get to find out who put this curse on Raz's family, where it came from, and what he can do about it. The story you uncover about the curse put on Raz's family links back into the story of the foundation of the Psychonauts, and Raz finds out that his family and the Psychonauts family are actually more intertwined than he believed. So there's a lot of mystery to discover for the player and Raz and his family and his friends as they explore the connections between his family and the Psychonauts and what it all has to do with Maligula. Maligula is one of the first villains the Psychonauts ever fought. She's a powerful psychic and she's a mass murderer, and she's been believed to be dead for many years, but there's a lot of unknown things going on behind the scenes and a lot of mysteries and a lot of plots for the player to uncover in Psychonauts 2. So that's it. Thanks for taking this deeper look into Psychonauts 2 with me. The game is coming out August 25th, and you can pre-order now. So I'll stop talking so you can go and do that. Thanks for watching.
Man, Tim Schafer, I think someone said in the chat, he looks like a guy you can hang out with. Yeah, I think he's a good dude. Been a big fan of him for years.
Hello? Nessa! Liu! Lance! Get on! Thanks. No problem. Stick together and let's do this.
Is this a disco? This I do not like.
I could use some help! Hit your pulse!
This is not good. Not good.
What if you open the doors and run? Just run. No stopping, no shooting, just straight to the bridge.
Get that flasher!
Surprised we're seeing more Deathloop.
That's not Deathloop.
I'm just
Really? We call them tanks.
I call them brutes. From Latin, Brutus.
We'd sound smart calling them brutes.
Eon, you don't want to get in here and help name these?
Nah, I'm good.
Brute!
That looks interesting, that game.
That was on the Jeff Keighley show, right?
Yeah.
Looking like a game I didn't realize I needed in my life. And here from Stray Bombay to tell us more about the Anacruces is Chet Felicek. Chet, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Now, talk to me about this game, the Anacrusis. What's the concept? How did you come up with this?
So I grew up with late 60s, early 70s sci-fi. I love that stuff, right? Logan's Run,
Yes.
Battlestar Galactica, Space 1999. That wasn't cheesy to me or campy. That was just the way
I'm old, so
sci-fi
I
was.
remember
And so we
everything
wanted to
he's
set a
talking
game in
about.
that world, right? We have those cool colors, cool shapes, fantastical sci-fi weapons and creatures. And then it also lends itself to, we wanted something that was positive about the players, the characters. You're working together. Sure, there's aliens. Sure, you're fighting them. Sure, you're trying to save Earth. But you're doing it in a positive, uplifting way. Yeah, after the pandemic, I don't think I could go back to a dreary post-apocalyptic world. I need something uplifting. And so we wanted to deliver that.
That's awesome. Now, talk to me about the gameplay. You've said that there's an infinite replayability to this. So how does that factor in?
Yeah, so there's 4-player co-op, because you're playing with your friends, and what we want to do is make sure that it's different every time you're playing it. And so we have a lot of different systems that do that, but underneath it all is the idea of the AI driver. The AI driver is driving everything that's happening in the game with items, where they're placed, what's happening with the creatures, what's happening with your health kits, your perks. All of those systems are driven off of that. And so what that means is, as you're playing, not only do you have those, hey, this last time we played this, there was nothing here, and this time we're being overwhelmed. And then you also have those peaks and valleys so that you have some downtime and then you have some really big uptime in it, or a lot of combat happening in it. We're also monitoring how the people are playing. So if you're first time playing and your team isn't doing very well, we'll put health kits right on the main path for you to find. And then if you don't find them at first, we'll spawn a couple more later. But if you're really good, if you're really killing it, well, we might not put anything on the main path. And so if you want to go find your perks, or if you want to go find new weapons, you have to go off that main path and go search for that. And it makes the game just a little bit harder, but in a way more interesting way than just saying, hey, let's double the health of all the enemies.
Right.
And then we do something of, we actually look from session to session as well. So if you play with the same 3 friends every week, and you guys have been killing it for 10 weeks in a row, well, let's mix it up for you. Let's just throw something crazy at you that you've never seen before, and a million aliens. We can do that because normally when you do difficulty, you've got to be here because you don't know what happened before or after. But here, we have these really big peaks and valleys, so we can bring you to nothing for a little bit, and then have it go crazy.
I love that it's scaling to your basically your skill level, right?
Exactly.
So that's fantastic. Now, kind of deeper dive more into the perk system that you're going to have in the game.
So for the perks, we looked at a lot of games where you start with, let's say, a class-based thing, and then if you're playing with your same friends. Well, I'm going to be support, you're going to be carry, someone else will be how. Like we kind of get into a rut of what systems we're playing and how we're playing. And so we want to be able to mix that up so that every time you're playing, you're also kind of choosing your role based on the perks you're getting. So perks come in this thing called the meta compiler, and you have to go find the meta compilers in the world. And once you find one, you'll have from 1 to 3 perks to choose from. And then over time, you're essentially building a deck for your character. And so you might have it where, if you saw in the trailer, there's a pulse, which is kind of like a melee shove. Well, you can invest into that, and you can have one that you can now recharge your pulse faster, and now it protects your other players around you, and then it gets more powerful, and you can actually do damage with it. So all of a sudden, you went from being a support character playing in the back to leading the charge, going forward and knocking down aliens and everyone else blasting them. Or you'll get a bunch of perks that are about investing in one weapon and making it where when you do headshots, it actually does damage to other aliens around. So now you're the sniper hanging back. And so it's really mixing up that kind of experience that you're having. And you'll earn these perks as you play. So the more you play, the more perks you have. But since we want the game to always be great to play with your friends, if you've been playing, let's say you play with me. I've been playing 400 hours. You're brand new.
Yeah.
Well, we share the perks. So you get all the perks that I have available to me as well. So that way you get to have that experience of all that craziness in your game as well. Because it's all about having fun with your friends.
Right, the shared experience with your friends. Now, we kind of already talked about the inspirations, like 2000. I looked at that and it was like 2001 Space Odyssey was the first thing I thought of. But let's talk more about the enemies in the game. What was some of the inspirations for that?
So the enemies is we kind of really look at it of how we want the players to behave as well as feel. And so we bring in outside playtesters every week. They play our game, we watch them, and what we'd see is really good teams would stick together really tightly. And even if we send something like the Brute at them that spreads them apart, they'd quickly form back together. So we created something called the Spawner. Yeah. And this is a good example of kind of how we approach the design. The Spawner, you hear off in the distance, and you'll hear it, and you know what it's doing. It's spawning things. It spawns these little turrets that come at you. They're not the worst thing, but they're going to be unrelenting until you kill the Spawner. And so you'll be sticking with your team and you'll be like, oh, wait a minute. If the spawner comes now and this turrets come and we've got a guy down, we've got to go over there, I'm not sticking with my team. I'm going to go hunt that thing down. I'm going to go kill it. So you go run off, you kill it, you're feeling good about it. And then all of a sudden you realize, wait, where are my teammates? I'm all alone. There's other specials here. Oh, I'm in trouble. And it's trying to create those kind of moments where it's mixing it up, where you always want to have it where it kind of almost takes turns of one player's the last one surviving, they're the last one up, and they're helping everybody else up and get it going. And so really looking at having those enemies give you those moments for how it affects the players.
Bonus question for you. What does the anacrusis actually mean?
So anacrusis is a musical term. It means the notes before the song, the little kind of intro. And for this, we have a character, Boris, that you never meet. And the other players just talk about it because I thought it was fun to have this character that you never really are sure who they are because it's everyone else describing it. And she named the barge that you're on, that you're launching these missions, the anacrusis. And her thought there was, this is not the main event. This is not us against the aliens with fighter pilots and everything else. This is just regular people. This is the pre-battle to the battle. This is finding out about these aliens and what just happened.
Oh, that sounds so cool. Again, the anacrusis, everything that you talked about today, it sounds amazing. I can't wait to get my hands on it. But Chet, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
We've got so much more coming in today's show, including Obsidian Entertainment with Grounded, iLlusions and Let It Roll with Shredders, and 343 Industries with a deeper dive on that incredible multiplayer trailer for Halo Infinite. But first, the original Stalker was one of the most intense and eerie games of its era.
Stalker
Next year,
looks
we return to
insanely
Chernobyl
good.
for Stalker 2.
Pushing the
And
hardware
Zach
to its
from
limits, I
GSC
bet you, at
Game
this
World
point.
has a closer look at the game. Let's check it out.
Here we go, folks. Is this new footage?
Hi everyone, it's Zach from GSC Game World. It has been several days since the gameplay reveal of Stalker 2. Our game now has a subtitle, Heart of Chernobyl, and a release date of April 28, 2022. By the way, the pre-orders are open for both PC and Xbox. You're obviously here willing to learn more, so here are several details about Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl you probably didn't know yet. So let's dive a little bit deeper in our trailer. This section of the trailer is a bandit's gunfight on the chemical plant. You can see the actual in-game animations of picking up the weapons and installing modifications on the go. The thing is, you can notice the teaser of a new faction. We are not showing the exact moment right now because we wonder if you can discover it yourself.
On the wet surface.
You may
It's
actually
crazy.
recognize the exact location on the swamps. If you played Stalker Clear Sky, you may remember this place. The time did the job, but the tower is definitely still there. Also, in this scene, you can see a brand new detector Skiff is using for the artifact hunt. Because of its form, it's called Gilka, which actually means a branch in the Ukrainian. The artifact Skiff is going to collect is called Jelly. In-game, it recovers your stamina. Moving to the Dancing Man scene. Before you ask it, yes, there will be a lot of characters with an interesting fate in the zone. His hideout is located in Chernobyl too. That's a town not so far from Pripyat you have seen in the gameplay teaser.
Вот это культура! А ты одно и то же по кругу лобаешь. Сам же просто.
The campfires. A small isle of safety in the unwelcoming zone. A place where you can finally have a little rest before another foray. You have seen the campfire during the first trailer in the Rookie village. Of course, it wasn't the only one. The zone is full of dangers and mutants. The monsters are the result of the numerous experiments. We're not ready to show you all of them, so let's stick to the old good bloodsucker for now.
Считаешь, я не думал, как обойтись без его смерти? Она не могла быть свободна, пока он жил. Зато теперь посмотри на нее. Нет, Скиф, я не отдам ее никому. Зона дала мне жизнь, новую жизнь. Жизнь, которую я готов вернуть, если потребуется. Я буду защищать ее.
That facial and hair animation
In this
is
rooftop scene,
top-notch.
we are truly proud with the quality of the animations. We made a small behind-the-scenes video from our motion capture studio. The face photogrammetry process makes the final result as close to the reality as possible.
Unbelievable.
Она не могла быть свободна, пока он жил. Я буду защищать ее. Всегда.
That's crazy.
The Gauss gun you're seeing in this section is one of the most powerful weapons from the arsenal.
Похоже, пора. И куда ты теперь?
В Припять. Moving to the final thing for today, the man at the end of the trailer is Sergei Grigorovich, the creator of the Stalker series.
Удачной охоты, сталкер.
Thanks for joining us today. We can't wait for the moment when the time comes to enter the zone on April 28, 2022.
As you just saw, Stalker 2 is shaping up to be something special, and I can't wait to play it next year when it comes to Xbox, PC, and Game Pass on day one. On Sunday, we saw the trailer for A Plague Tale Requiem.
Yes,
the
we
sequel
did.
To the award-winning A Plague Tale Innocence. And for those of you who are fans of the original, we've got some good news for you too.
Alicia, I want to see mommy.
Still one of the highlights from the show.
I agree.
Such an
Biggest
underrated
surprise for me
game.
personally. I absolutely love the original.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting optimized.
Oh, I'm
That's-
replaying that one.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
No one can escape.
Folks, if you trust my opinion, I am telling you,
totally
please
sold it.
play the original game.
Yes.
It is a masterpiece. And in Game Pass. Oh man, that's awesome.
July 6th.
That's right around the corner. Man, 4K UHD, that's dope.
What would you build?
Bring that game to the consoles, please.
Yes. Cosmic Throw. No, it has puzzles, but it's an action adventure game, dude. It's fantastic.
The King is back. And here to tell us more about Age of Empires 4 are Adam Icegreen and Emma Bridle from World's Edge. Thank you both for being here.
Thanks for having us on, Paris.
Oh, absolutely. my legacy Age player. I'm excited for this. Now, you had some news at the briefing. Can you kind of talk about that a little more?
Well, I mean, fans got to have their first looks at two more of our launch civilizations, the Abbasid Dynasty and the French.
Yes.
And they bring a lot to the table, totally different ways to play. But I'm really excited to show them those. And then also people got to see their first taste of naval gameplay, which we haven't shown off at all, except for a little teaser at the end of fan preview.
Paying off that tease. And we also
Exactly.
revealed one more of our campaigns, the 100 Years' War, and Joan of Arc made an appearance. We also announced that the game is coming October 28th, and it's coming to Windows Store, Steam, and of course, Game Pass for PC.
Now, earlier you mentioned the two civilizations, the Abbasid Dynasty and the French. Can you kind of go into detail about that?
Yeah, I guess I'll start. The Abbasid. So the Abbasid Dynasty is this amazing technological powerhouse of a civilization that has a really unique mechanic that we're bringing to them in Age of Empires 4. It's actually unique across all the civs that are in the game, in that they construct this bastion of knowledge called the House of Wisdom, and they can keep upgrading it with different wings, and that gives them a host of incredible technologies that leverage their army, their economy, their resources. But beyond
Anybody
even
on the
that,
panel,
they have an incredible amount
an
of
Age
fun
of
units,
Empires player?
especially camels, unique to the civs.
I
again.
played it back in the
The launch
days,
since for Age of Empires 4
on
is camel
PC,
units, and these camels have
when I was a
amazing abilities to
player,
buff the
Age of
other
Empires
units in their
2,
armies, and so you
hundreds
have
of
these
hours
wonderful
in there.
diverse mixes where
Then,
you always
yeah,
want to
since
be
I
throwing
moved
different
on
units together, but always
PC
including
to
camels for the
consoles,
different kinds of buffs and advantages you can give to your to your civilization. It's great.
Since
And the
that's why I was
French are
hoping for a
really
console
strong
release.
with trade. They've got some great options that are going to make your late game really,
I
really
don't wanna
interesting. They have
cut
a
off
landmark
what
called the House
people
of
are listening
Commerce.
to, but
And for your
are you
units, you're going to really
disappointed
want
that
to
it's
focus on
not
knights
coming
and
to
lancers.
console
Those are your
yet?
powerhouses. But the French
Disappointed
actually
is
made an
strong.
appearance in the
I
trailer
find the
as part of the
approach
100 Years
strange
War
because
campaign.
every
And
console
as you
game
can see,
comes
Joan
there and
there,
they
I'm
took
actually
the
wearing
C,
her
so why
around
not
my
do it the
neck.
other
She's
way
a
around?
feminist icon from
Interesting,
history.
yeah.
This young woman who led with her convictions and led a battle, and she was a teenager. And so she's beloved. She's in Age 2 in a campaign, and so we know Age fans are going to love seeing her again.
I never
And
played
the
one of
100
these
Years
games
War,
before.
with the multiple missions, like the Battle of the 30, are really going to bring that
I
period
loved
of
Halo
history to
Wars,
life.
which
And
is
all the
similar.
live
Halo
action
Wars is
footage
great,
that you saw in the
yes.
trailer
I
on
love
Sunday,
Aliens
that's
versus
all from within
Predator
the game.
on the
we have
OG
these multiple
Xbox.
documentaries that will play
Yeah,
between
That was
the
also
missions
very good.
to storytelling,
Real-time
really bring it to
strategy
life
games
as
can
you
work on
journey
console
through
if
the
they are
100
done
Years.
right.
Taking a completely different
so
approach
yeah,
to how we're telling
hoping
story.
for
And
console
matter of fact, I don't
release.
think I've seen any game that
No.
does what we're doing
Yeah,
in terms of
wow.
how we're showing the story and how we're getting people involved with history. So
It
super
really,
exciting.
really brings it to life. And I've learned things about English history from these documentaries
Not
I
really
didn't learn in school.
real-time,
So
but
they're
geotactics,
educating as well as moving the game
also
forward.
fantastic
community
You know what's
strategy.
feedback
funny?
is
I
always
have yet to
important
put
in
any
any
real
game,
time
but
into Gears
especially in
Tactics.
something like
I really
Age.
want to
Now,
start that. I
how
only
have
put
you
like
taken
maybe
some of that feedback into
35 minutes
development
into
for
it.
Age 4?
I
So
gotta
we
play
formed a
that.
community council back in 2017. We wanted our community and our
I
players to have
finished
a
it
seat at the table for
after
development.
launch,
We're making the game for them.
after
So
the
they've been
launch of the
hands-on with the game for a really
Xbox
long
Series
time and
X.
giving us their honest feedback.
It's
And
so
we
good,
then take that
so
to the game
addictive.
team, and they
Yeah.
look at making changes based on what they've told us. So they've influenced things from the look of the UI icons, the influence system that's built into Age 4. They've really, really helped us with their viewpoints make the game better. And one thing they really pushed for actually was naval.
Yeah, it's amazing. We actually, if you look at a lot of the data, we see data on all of the Age of Empires games that people play. And naval is one of those things that in Age 2, a lot of people don't use it, which is crazy, right? But if it wasn't there, people would miss it so much. And sometimes we have to ask those hard questions when we're making games, right? We say, like, do we need to do this? And it was something that we felt weird about. And we went to the council with it and we're like, hey, not even you guys don't play naval all the time. Like, do we need it? And they're like, yeah, no, we see your point, but you have to have this. Yeah. And it was great. It was a great reaffirmation. And we throw a lot of things like that at our council to make sure that we're making the game that's great for all the different kinds of players that love Age of Empires all over the world.
And now we're heading towards launch.
Yeah.
We're branching out beyond our council. People are going to get hands-on for the first time. So we had a fan preview event back in April, and we looked at the feedback from that and have made changes since then. So, you let us know that you didn't feel like the weapon scaling was quite right. So we've gone ahead and we've improved that.
That is fantastic. Now, you actually hit on something that I wanted to jump into because Age has been around for a while. There's been previous games, but you continue to make content for those. So what's some of the news you can share as far as development with some of the legacy Age games?
Well, we have a new expansion coming in August for Age 2 Definitive Edition called Dawn of the Dukes. And in that expansion, we're going to be adding 2 more civilizations, the Bohemians and the Poles, and 3 new campaigns for the Lithuanians, the Bohemians, and the Poles. And those are great stories about really cool, brother and sister teams that work together to kind of rise up these empires. And I can't wait for people to get their hands on it. And the great thing is that if you pre-order Age of Empires 4, you get that for free. That's part of the deal for pre-ordering Age 4 on the different platforms.
Oh, that's cool.
And for Age 3, of course, because we don't want to leave them out either. Age 3 Definitive Edition, we're hard at work on an African PDLC with new civilizations and campaigns. Cool. Yeah. And I can't wait to show more, but we're not ready to talk about that one just yet.
But if you don't want to miss out, go to ageofempires.com, become an insider. You get a little sneak peeks at things we've got coming and chances to get hands-on with content early.
Yeah.
Now, shifting us back to the present in Age 4, what's some of the things people can expect as we lead up to launch?
Well, we've got a bit of an exclusive for you today. So we're going to name our remaining launch civs and our remaining launch campaigns. We're not going to show them just yet. That'll come closer to launch. But our 2 remaining civilizations are the Holy Roman Empire and the Rus. And the names of our 2 remaining campaigns are the Rise of Moscow and the Mongol Empire.
All that sounds fantastic. Please.
No, I was just going to say, I'm so excited. I get all gushing about things like this. You're going to have to wait a little more to get information and see more detail on those civilizations and campaigns. But we've also got, a ton of stuff planned. We have a beta that's going to be coming up. So, you can go to ageofempires.com to sign up be an insider to get in our beta and get a chance to actually get hands-on with the game. And then, of course, again, we're launching October 28th.
Yep.
How long to wait?
On Steam, on Windows 10, and on Game Pass for PC. So it should be great any way you want to play.
We're just really excited.
That is great. And I'm sure Age fans all around the world are really looking forward to that. So again, Adam, Emma, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us on.
No, thank you. Massive battles across land, air, and sea have been a hallmark of the Battlefield series from the beginning. In this next video, design director Daniel Berlin will tell us more about what DICE can do when it brings all-out warfare to the world's most powerful console.
Incoming fire!
The thing that will really excite players is the introduction of all this cutting-edge technology that we're just infusing into the sandbox. I think just having the combat of the helicopter on the battlefield, it just introduces a whole new layer to the sandbox. It just gives
the Frostbite
players
engine is
so much
incredible.
more tools that make
I cannot wait to be on the top of a building,
than it's been
shooting
in a very
at
long
helicopters,
time.
and then
We
just
really
jump off and
enable
parachute
our players
down.
to be
That is
really, really
freaking
creative
dope.
with the tools we give them. And that's what Battlefield is kind of all about. Being in a massive open war setting and being able to say like, hey, there's a problem over there, go solve it. And the players actually choose how they want to solve that problem. And through that process, create their own Battlefield moments. So in 2042, you will experience 3 really distinct experiences. The one we're talking about right now, we're talking about today, is the experience that we call the all-out warfare experience. Now, this is the place you go in 2042 when you want to have those classic Battlefield experiences, this massive war where it's, air, land, and sea just coming together in these massive battles. But we've actually made a distinction between 2 separate experiences within the all-out warfare experience. And that's Conquest, which is very much a staple for our franchise. It's something that our fans know and love. And we're just taking the Conquest experience to the max this time around. Conquest is all about the freedom, the access to the sandbox, being able to choose where you fight, how you fight, where you want to go. But it's also experience that will allow players to kind of choose their own pacing. And there's moments in Conquest where it's complete chaos. When a lot of players they just converge on a single point and the chaos goes up to the maximum. But there's also moments within Conquest where, you've just had that big battle. And now you've won that battle. And you go like, okay, you bring up your map and you have a conversation with your friends. And you say like, okay, where do we want to go next? Oh, we need to go over there to that state. Okay, how do we get there? Oh, let's call in a vehicle. And a vehicle, you can call it in wherever you want. And then your friends, you hop into the transport vehicle and you go across the map and you go to a new location where there's a new fight. So Conquest is just that full freedom to the sandbox. And right next to that lives the other experience within All Out Warfare, which is Breakthrough. And this is a significantly more guided experience. It takes you on a journey
Lanzo in the chat asked a great question. What are you more hyped for, Battlefield or Halo? I gotta say Halo, man. Halo is the OG, and I want it to come back in a big way.
Head on in a specific space, so the time to action
I
is
like
short,
Battlefield.
and the level of chaos is
I kind of really
really
need
high.
a
There's
campaign to
helicopters
get
and
into
there's
a
tanks
game.
and there's infantry. There's just
It's
everything
just for me
happening.
the entry
and it's
point,
just
just to
complete
jump
chaos
into
and breakthrough.
multiplayer.
So All Out Warfare kind of takes these 2 fan favorite staple modes, and we make them distinctly lean into their specific strength. And that's on the Xbox Series
I'm just excited to
X
see
and
2
the
games
Xbox
take
Series
on
S, you will actually be able to play
go back to traditional
All Out Warfare
multiplayer
experiences
without
up
it
to
being battle royale. I'm looking
128
forward to that.
players.
Yeah,
which is a
I got news for you. I
double to what
think
we've
that
done in the past in the
Call of Duty is
franchise.
going to take a big
And this
dump
is really,
this year.
you can have those moments when you're playing
1950s,
2042, when you're sitting in the
not so
helicopter
much.
and you look down and you just see this, sea of tanks, soldiers, infantry,
Yep, Daniel Hayes, I agree with you.
fighter
Call of
jets just
Duty is in trouble.
moving in
I agree.
unison, and you kind of get this feeling that you're part of something bigger, like a really, really massive army. And that's the strength of the massive play spaces that we're building. And to be able to really make this play really well, we've altered our way of handling level design. Because it wasn't just as simple as, just making it bigger and then portion the locations out. It doesn't really work that way. So we've leaned into a new type of design mentality that we're calling clustering. Now, what clustering means that you will have a massive battlefield in front of you. But within this massive battlefield, you'll have particular clusters of objectives. So the map Hourglass is set in Doha, Qatar, and it is, I'm not going to go into any specifics about exactly how large it is, but it is definitely one of the larger maps that we will have in 2042. It's one of my favorite maps personally because it has some really, really cool, distinct locations within it. Down to the south of the map, you'll have a fully destructible village. This is a great space for infantry and vehicles alike because you know as a battlefield player that infantry is skulking around inside the buildings, but you know when you're in your tank or your attack helicopter, you can just can destroy those buildings and get access to the infantry. And you can go further east and you'll find a bunch of high rises, skyscrapers. So there's a whole section there where you can enter the skyscrapers, you can go up to the top of them, you can zip line between the roofs, have fights in between the rooftops. But if you want to change it up even more, you can basically skydive off of the skyscrapers.
Oh, now we're talking.
If you're playing a particular specialist that has access to a wingsuit, you can actually glide across the entire map space and get yourself all the way over to the stadium, which is on the east side of the map. And the stadium itself
crazy
is a place
that it's
you
that
go
big.
when you really want to just take out your shotgun and have some close quarters combat. So the mentality here of building larger maps, but creating locations within that map where there's a particular type of gameplay. And with the Conquest game mode, for example, you will also see the fact that if you want to capture the entirety of the stadium, it's not just to go there and capture one location. You actually have to capture multiple locations within the stadium in order for you to kind of to consider it yours, that your team can actually get benefits from it. So lots of dynamic moments on Hourglass. And if you saw in the gameplay trailer as well, there's a massive wall of sand moving across the entire gameplay space. So what happens when this massive wall comes, of course, it engulfs you in the storm itself. But as it passes by, it leaves the entirety of the map in a different mood, in a different light, and it changes the visibility for the player. And this is a really good time for you to lean into our Plus system, where you have the capability to actually alter the customization on your weapon.
I like that.
I'd also like to mention that
really
the wall of
cool.
sand is one thing, right? But there's also the possibility of the tornado.
A freaking tornado. Wow. Oh my God. It's like the Cobra Weather Dominator, man. That is
And the tornado
awesome.
is this massive
Great reference,
disruptor
Boom.
that just comes
Yeah, I'm an
into the
old
play
school
space,
G.I.
and
Joe
wherever
fan.
it
Matter of
goes,
fact, I just ordered 2 new
destruction
classified
follows. It's a
figures
massive,
while I was streaming live.
moving
So yeah,
physical
I could do
entity
2
that will
things at
pick
once,
you up,
even though I'm old.
throw you across the map, pull helicopters
it.
into it. It's just a crazy, fun physics experience that happens as you play the map. So everything is in the hands of the player. This really is a sandbox. And these moments are in the hands of the player. While in other games, the battlefield moments are pre-scripted.
That's crazy.
In our game, they just happen. And they happen differently every single time because it's players controlling what's happening around you. That's something that you
cannot
only
wait
get
to
in
play
Battlefield.
this.
That's why I love Battlefield so much.
Epic action at an epic scale is what we all want from Battlefield 2042, and DICE looks poised to deliver. During the showcase on Sunday, we announced an exciting collaboration between Rare, Xbox, and Disney with Sea of Thieves, A Pirate's Life, a free update which brings Captain Jack Sparrow and his crew sailing into the Sea of Thieves. Today, we're premiering a brand new trailer showing some of the gameplay you'll experience when you team up with Jack Sparrow for this all-new adventure. I can't wait to be a part of this crew. Let's take a look.
You will always
Fantastic
remember this is the
crossover.
day your crew was joined by Captain Jack Sparrow.
Now, is this a single player
To the Sea of
adventure?
Thieves. Quick as you like. Chop, chop.
It's time
I
to
don't
bridge
think so.
the worlds and take our
Sure
rightful
looks like
places
it.
as lords of the sea.
Now we have awoken, and we are hungry.
Perhaps they'll take ye on the grand tour of me fallen kingdom.
I was starting to think you'd taken a tumble. Not everyone's as steady on their feet as I am. This is the first place I've found where everyone appreciates my uniqueness. They're coming aboard! Keep your crusty claws off me!
Davy Jones wishes you destroyed, and I shall oblige him.
What is that infernal noise? That's Captain Infernal Noise to you, mate! Sparrow! Destroy that statue, and there'll be the double to pay!
Thanks for the update, Trevor. You can play solo. Okay, cool.
Hear me, my daughter! Come more than beast!
That looks really good.
Whatever they've told you, it's not true. Unless it's flattering, in which case, it's all true, but they left out the best bits. Savvy?
Hey everyone, Joni, executive producer on Sea of Thieves here. So we've shown you the cinematic trailer, we've shown the gameplay trailer, but there's still more to come. So on Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. UK, and 8 p.m. in Europe, we have the Sea of Thieves: A Pirate's Life showcase. So this is a real deep dive just into all of the details behind this collaboration with Disney. How did we bring Jack Sparrow into our world? How do we capture his humor and his charm and all of the kind of characters that are coming in as a part of this? You're going to get a first look at a couple of tales and actual gameplay of those. You're going to get some behind the scenes interviews with our development team, and also just to chat with us and with Disney just about how this collaboration came to be. So it's going to be amazing. I hope everybody tunes in. So we'll see you on Sunday.
Nice, man. That's awesome.
That's great news. I love that.
Dude, I love how they're sprinkling out this content. It's Forza, right? Yeah.
No, Flight Sim.
Oh, Flight Sim. Okay, well, I mean, they both look that good.
I mean, that is probably the only game that can get away with 30 FPS on the next gen, because it's not really that fast paced. But man, look at this.
I've never played a flight sim game, to be honest. I'm not trying to front here. I am looking forward to trying this. And more importantly, I think Minute Repeater just said it. Show me the wonderful F-18s. Yeah, that connection with, of course, Top Gun is, and the new film coming out is really cool. Like I'm really impressed with who Microsoft is partnering with.
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, the technology alone behind this game is giving me goosebumps. This is really.
I cannot wait to play this. I mean, can you? I mean, it looks like as if you can hang out with friends, which would be kind of really cool.
Yeah. And I can't wait to fly over my own house.
Yeah, you know what? I'm looking forward to flying over New Rochelle, New York myself, and I'm definitely going to fly to your house in Germany. I can't wait.
I'll send you the coordinates. So
I love it. I love
see
it.
where I live.
Isn't there just such an amazing feeling right now in Xbox land? I mean, it's just such a great time to be an Xbox gamer. My God.
I can honestly say I've never been more excited for the future of Xbox.
Yes, I agree.
So awesome to be a gamer right now.
Agreed, 100%.
Free expansion too.
Kenny Loggins.
I'm ready for the danger zone.
I love it.
In just a second.
Amazing.
When Microsoft Flight Simulator launched last year on PC, reviewers and gamers alike were blown away by the stunning visuals and the depth of simulation. Joining us is Jörg Newman, the head of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Jörg, thank you for being here. Really appreciate it.
Good to meet you. Those are cool glasses. You get you a jacket.
Yeah, I got my jacket as well. So you had some announcements this Sunday about Microsoft Flight Simulator. Can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, it was super cool. We announced that Microsoft Flight Simulator is coming to Xbox Series X and S. And the franchise has an awesome history on the PC. It's going back all the way to 1982. You know, it predates Office and Windows. And when we launched last year, it was on the PC only. And it was a really warm welcome from simmers and from press and from people who have never flown flight sim before. Yeah. So we're super excited that it comes to console now. And so for the first time in the history of the franchise.
So I've been playing Flight Simulator since last year on PC. I have a 3080, but it is now coming to the Xbox Series X and S. What sorcery are you doing to get this running on both of those consoles? I have to know.
I think it's a combination of two things, really. I mean, first off, it's a super powerful console.
Yes.
And then we are really using the Microsoft tech stack in an interesting way. So as you know, Series X and S is like a beast. The GPU is awesome. Super powerful CPU with multiple cores, RAM, fast RAM. We can run in 4K. That's super important for planes.
I love that
If
they're
you sit
showing
there in
it on
cockpit,
the
you need to be
Series
able to
X.
read all the
Like,
text. SSD,
wow.
fast internet.
Yeah.
So it's basically the equivalent of a really powerful high-end PC. And on top of that, on Flight Sim, we're using the Microsoft stack a lot. Like we have 2.5 petabyte of data. It's 1.6 million CDs sitting on Azure. And we're basically streaming that down as you go. And we also do machine learning algorithms up there, and that is how we build procedurally in runtime 1.5 billion houses and 2 trillion trees.
This is
So it's a
probably going
combination
to
of those two
be
things.
the
Super
most
powerful console,
realistic
super good use
graphics
of the
in any
Microsoft tech
console
stack.
game
You
ever.
get it to work on console.
That is fantastic.
Absolutely.
Now, with Xbox Game Pass and with it coming to console, you're going to expose Flight Simulator to a lot of new gamers, right? So what are some of the things that you're going to do to make it more accessible to a wider audience?
So you're exactly right. We had a little bit of that last year when we launched because we knew the flight simmers, that's their hobby. They came in, they know everything about aviation.
They better
know
release
exactly what to do.
a
But we
flight
had a
stick
lot of
for
people come in
Xbox.
through Xbox Game Pass
That's
on PC.
from Microsoft.
They
There's one
basically
coming.
tried for the
I've
first
seen that
time.
on
So we,
Twitter.
even on the PC launch, we
Really?
did a bunch of work on
there's
onboarding, with tutorials,
this
we give
stick
some
coming,
assistances. But now for this Xbox version, we're actually doing a ton more. And I actually brought you a little video. And so there's 5 things we did. The first thing, if you're becoming a pilot, the first thing you do is you do a discovery flight. It's basically, you have a flight instructor next to you. He does most of the work, he or she, and you get to steer the plane and feel really good about yourself, right? And so we said, we need to recreate that. So we picked 10 places on Earth, like some of the most compelling places, like Mount Everest, or Rio de Janeiro, or New York, or the pyramids. And we basically put you on a plane, it's ready to go, it's beautiful weather, and all you need to do is fly and have fun. And it really is an onboarding experience, is super good. And then we noticed on the PC side that people really love to explore the world in Flight Sim. I did that. I've spent like a month in South America, and I've never been to South America, and it was super cool. But it was only visuals. And, so you didn't quite understand how everything fits together. So now we added labels, and Bing has all these labels basically for every POI, like famous place or river or mountain. So we have all those now, and we put that into the world map. And even if you go down and you try to plan out your flight, you can now see all the cities around you, and it's totally transforms the experience. Same in game. So we now have labels in game where you see, here's Everett, over there is, whatever, and you learn about the planet more, and it's a much more enriching experience, just experiencing the planet.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. The next thing we did is we revamped the tutorials. We wanted to basically smoothen out the onboarding experience. We wanted to retain knowledge more. So we had 8 tutorials on the PC. Now we have 22. And they're shorter, they're much more focused, and we have a performance indicator system. So basically it rates you and how you did, and you get a score. And honestly, I can speak for myself. Like, I'm totally motivated to get better and better and better. And with that, you learn more and more how you really fly. So it's been super successful, and I think it's going to help newcomers a lot. The next feature that we have it's called Flight Assistant, which I use a lot. It's basically, so imagine you fly over New York and you see. You want to actually just look at the landscape and look at the city, but eventually you want to go to Brooklyn Bridge. So on the flight instructor, flight assistants, you can now click on, go to Brooklyn Bridge, and the AI, almost like a co-pilot next to you, will fly you to the Brooklyn Bridge, and you can just look around and have an interesting time. Same with airports, which are sometimes challenging for people. Like, you can click on the airport and say, please land me at, say, Newark Airport. And then the last thing is, if you really get yourself in trouble, like you stall out the plane or something like that, you can actually now click into, you can now go and basically say recover. And it's almost like the pilot is sitting next to you. It's super helpful. I think people will love it. And the last thing was, we learned that everybody's good taking off, but some people are hesitant to land, specifically when you look at like big international airports and they seem scary, and you need to talk to the air traffic controller and all that, super technical. So we added a new feature called Land Anywhere. Just let them land anywhere. And then
I
when
still
you do
wonder
that, the first thing
why
you
they
see
haven't
is
bought
71% of the
a
planet
Soho
is
yet.
water.
Yes.
So we added basically floats to a bunch of our planes, and you can land everywhere now on the ocean or in rivers or wherever. Same with snow. So we have skis on our planes now, and
that
so you
is
can
so
go to the
cool,
polar
man.
regions, mountaintops, or when it's winter, because we have winter when it's snowing, you can now land anywhere. So I think those 5 things in combination will really make it easier for people who have never been in a flight sim, because it's, we made a decision not to dumb down the flight sim. It's not easier. It's not gamified.
Right.
Like we gave assistances to help you learn how to actually fly a plane. I think we're going to achieve that.
So one thing on PC is there's a ton of flight accessories that you can use as far as various peripherals and controls. What are you going to be able to
Here it is,
bring
Boom.
to the console that can somewhat replicate that experience?
Here we go.
Totally. It's a good news story. So there's 2 really good flight sticks already on the console. It's the Thrustmaster T-Flight HOTAS 1, if you have that. And then there's also the HOTI HOTAS flight stick.
Yep.
And so we fully support those 2. And then we worked with all the main top-notch peripheral makers, both on PC and Xbox. And all I can say is there are going to be some really good announcements coming up. Yeah. And for Core Simmer, I can say you can now play. We have the software.
Oh man,
to
I have
a
the
full Core Sim
Thrustmaster in my
experience,
cart,
and we'll
but
have
I
the
want to wait
hardware on
for
Xbox.
theirs
All
official.
for the first time on a console. It's going to be great.
Oh, that's going to be great. Now, we obviously had the funny start with the Top Gun Maverick expansion pack. You announced that, but can you go into a little more detail about that?
Yeah, I
what
mean,
you can expect.
We couldn't be more excited, right? Like, I mean, it's really like a dream come true. If you think about entertainment and the franchises that celebrate aviation, you will actually come to Microsoft Flight Simulator and Top Gun, and it's a perfect marriage. So I can't say that much about it because the movie obviously is, keeps everything under wraps. But if you watch the trailer carefully, you saw there's some F/A-18s, and there's an aircraft carrier. There might be another plane. And then I can say is we're going to go fast, like really fast. And we're going to be in the danger zone with this one.
That is going to be great. Really looking forward to that. Now, as we wrap this up, there's not much else you can say about the Maverick expansion pack, but what else can people expect from Flight Simulator in the near future?
A lot. So ever since launch, we said we're going to launch and have a new update, like a big, meaningful update every single month. And we launched 9 months ago, and we had 9 updates. So we have something that's called World Updates, where we just pick a zone on Earth, like the United States or Japan or like England and Ireland, and we make that really better. Like we get the the best possible satellite imagery. We create an elevation map that basically makes the mountains look better. We create 3D cities. Like after launch, we launched London and Paris, and then we also make missions. So we celebrate the planet, like with these updates, and we're just going to go around the planet. We're shipping 2 more this year and 6 more next year, and then. We also have something called sim updates, simulation updates, where we work with the manufacturers of planes, with the flight sim community out there that knows tons about everything, and also with real-world pilots. And we're basically making the sim better and better. The goal is to make the ultimate sim. Yeah. It's the perfect thing, totally authentic. And then on top of that, you should expect the unexpected. Just like with Maverick, which I don't think people really saw coming, there will be more of that. And I think all I can say is it'll get the gamers and the simmers both their hearts pounding. So,
oh man, I can't wait. That's awesome.
That is awesome. Now, again, I'm so excited that more people are going to get to play Flight Simulator. I've been playing it on PC. I love it. I highly recommend everyone do the flight from LA to Paris. It's really good, very cathartic. But as we get out of here, I want to thank you so much for taking some time to talk about Flight Simulator. Can't wait for that expansion pack.
Thank you so much. It was awesome.
Thank you. Still to come, we have Grounded, Shredders, and of course, Halo Infinite. But first, one of the best PC games of 2020 was Hades, and it's got a ton of awards to prove it. Here's a closer look at what we can expect from Supergiant Games later this year on Xbox Series X and S.
We just announced that Hades, our Game of the Year winning roguelike dungeon crawler, is coming soon to Xbox, and I want to introduce you to some of the gods, ghosts, and monsters you'll meet in our rendition of the ancient Greek underworld. You don't need any prior interest in Greek myth to get into Hades, but as you play, maybe you'll get to wondering how much of this stuff comes from mythology. The answer is a whole lot. Greek myth is filled with wild, fascinating, often contradictory stories of these larger-than-life characters. The Olympians are a big, complicated family, always bickering and always pushing each other, and their portrayals in classical mythology inspired our portrayals in Hades. Let's start with Hades himself.
needs it now. I've a mountain of infernal parchment work.
He's often relegated to the role of villain in many modern adaptations of Greek myth, but in classical mythology, he's a complicated guy, and much more principled than some of his brothers or sisters. He's so fascinating, we made a whole game about him. As the god of the dead, Hades has an imposing reputation to live up to, so he even has a monstrous pet in the three-headed hound of hell, Cerberus. The idea that this savage beast was still somebody's pet dog crystallized how we wanted to portray the gods in Hades, that despite being immortal and all-powerful, they're not so different from the rest of us. Though, let's not forget Zagreus. We've heard from many players who figured Zagreus was a god of our own creation. After all, who's ever heard of Hades having any kids? But according to some ancient sources, he did.
Greetings, Father. My ransacking was a delight, thank you for asking. So I'll just be on my way again.
In classical mythology, Zagreus is a little-known chthonic god, meaning a god of the underworld, sometimes associated with Dionysus, the god of wine. But in other cases, he is associated with Hades. How could Hades have a son nobody knows about? How does he fit into the myths we do know of Hades? We were so drawn to answering these questions that they form the basis for the entire story of this game. If you're the prince of the underworld, who do you get as your personal trainer? That would be Achilles, a near-invincible warrior in his day, once called
That's
the
my
greatest
old
of the Greeks.
D&D name from when I was a kid.
Despite the
That's
circumstances.
funny.
Remember your training out there. The pain of death is but another obstacle.
Hades takes place after his untimely demise during the Trojan War, once he's had a lot of time to reflect on his life choices. Achilles lived in glory, so he's got an okay gig in the afterlife, but some wretched souls end up in a really bad spot in the underworld. And for better or worse, they get to meet Megara.
Ever stubborn, aren't you? Maybe my whip might make you reconsider whatever it is that you're attempting here.
She is one of the three Fury sisters tasked with torturing some of the absolute worst souls for all eternity. And in our game, she's also tasked with making sure Zagreus doesn't make it out of the underworld. These two have a lot of history, and since the story of Hades keeps moving forward each time you play, the more you run into Megara, the better you'll get to know her. There's also Thanatos.
Death approaches.
He may decide to drop in on you when he isn't busy whisking the souls of the recently departed to the underworld.
Thought you could just get away from me, did you?
He is the personification of death, according to Greek myth, though represents more of a peaceful death than, say, the kind that happened a lot during something like the Trojan War. So even though he can seem a little sinister at first, in the spirit of the mythology, we wanted our Thanatos to have a gentler side. Thanatos has a couple of brothers in Hades, such as Hypnos here, the personification of sleep.
What? Paul says here one of the wretched thugs got you. Too bad.
When he's not dozing on the job, Hypnos can comment on every single possible way you can die in this game, of the dozens and dozens of different possibilities. Where did all these gods of the underworld come from anyway? According to the Theogony, an ancient Greek creation myth by Hesiod that introduces all the gods and their ancestors, many of the chthonic gods came from Nyx, the personification of night.
Darkness guides you, child. You have outgrown this house. Of that I am now certain. Should you return again here, I shall keep you safe.
She is a primordial goddess, meaning she is much older even than Hades or the Olympians. And in our game, she has an important role in the underworld, not the least of which is helping you unlock some of your hidden power. There are 30 different characters to meet and grow closer to the more you play Hades, and we hope you enjoy getting to know them all. Some of them feel truly ancient and godlike. Some are funny, some are scary. We found them incredibly inspiring and hope you do too, once you get to meet everybody when Hades comes to Xbox One and Series X on August 13th.
I have it on Switch. Never really put a lot of time into it. I like achievements, so I'm definitely going to be playing through this game.
I'm playing it also on the Switch, but I never finished. Looks good, not great from what I remember, but I definitely going to give it a chance.
Good also. Sable, I'm playing the demo. Demo's up if you want to try it. Yeah, when is the gun coming out? I can't can't wait for the Ascent. That looks so freaking good.
Yeah.
Да пошел ты.
I'm very. It's one of my top picks for this conference with Somerville. I cannot wait to play this.
Okay, this is good. This is good. This is really good. Holy spluttering whipple!
Who remembers Amped on the 360?
Not me.
Of course. Of course.
Here, Dark Alliance. Can't wait.
Yeah, get 3 months of Game Pass for $1, folks. If you're not already subscribed, man, jump on that.
Go big. Or never go home.
Here to tell us more about the Grounded update are Adam and Eric from Obsidian Entertainment. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, it's a real honor.
No,
I'm glad they're
absolutely.
ending with
Love
Halo,
Grounded,
not
love
gonna
everything
lie.
that you guys have been doing with it. Now, my first question is this mushroom system. What can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so that's one of the big things for the Shroom and Doom update is mushrooms. We're really changing how the yard is with mushrooms. Every mushroom that you see in the yard is now harvestable, which is really cool. So the small ones, the big ones, the big toadstools, the ones that you find in caves, now those were present in the yard before, but now you can actually harvest them and get mushroom stuff out of them. The next kind of part of that is that we're adding a couple base building elements like mushroom bricks.
Yeah.
So you have to take all those mushrooms that you find, and then you have to grind them up in a grinder, which is a new building. And then you have to take them to your oven, which is another new building that we're adding, and bake the mushroom stuff into bricks. And then with the mushroom brick buildings, there's a whole host of new options for base builders. And it's more fortified walls and a bunch of other options so you can build a cool big castle.
Oh, that's really cool. Now, we saw the Brood Mother, so you're bringing bosses into Grounded. What can you tell me about that? What does that mean for the direction of the game as we move forward?
Yeah, so the Broodmother is our first boss. So we actually launched with the Broodmother, and we didn't really feel it hit the right mark. So we took the Broodmother out, and we wanted to spend a lot of time making it a really memorable boss fight. So we put a lot of development effort behind the Broodmother, and it's going to really feel like a big, huge fight and a memorable one. There's a lot of kind of cool things with it. I don't want to spoil everything. I want players to kind of experience it for themselves. But it definitely is something that we want players' feedback to see, like, what do they like? What do they not like? How is the challenge? We want to make it really challenging and have a good reward for defeating the Broodmother. But is it too hard? We'd like to know that. So for
I like
future
that there's an
development on Grounded,
arachnophobia
like,
mode if
we
you're
want
afraid
to
of
make
spiders.
more bosses. And so we want to get all that feedback to improve the system.
Now, you actually bring up a great point about community, but I'll put a pin in that and come back to it in a second. So I know you don't want to spoil anything about the Broodmother, but is there any tips you can kind of give people ahead of time on what they can do to survive that encounter?
Yeah, don't
I would definitely say that you would need to make sure you have the highest tier armor and gear up really well for this fight, because it is going to be difficult. And then you also want to have the right mutations equipped as well. And if you're playing with your friends, it might be good for one of your friends or yourself to use the brand new crossbow we're going to put into the game, so you can have some ranged DPS while someone else like face tanks the Broodmother.
Yeah.
So it's going to be pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. So again, going back to community, I know you love getting feedback about Grounded, obviously starting as an early access game, but What are some of the things that you're looking for as far as in this update? What was something that you got feedback-wise from the community that you put in this update?
Yeah, so there's it's one thing that we love working with community. So that's something that we, as developers, we love just hearing what people have to say about the game, and we're continually developing it with the community. So there's a lot of new things in our new update. One of those things is flipping buildings, and that's one thing that we're really like just adding like those little features. Another one is just sprinting up ladders, which is something that like, just hearing people how they interact with ladders and adding a sprint mode. The other one is one of our funnier features that we're adding is sitting in chairs.
Yeah.
So it's something that a lot of people really, really wanted.
We're also introducing like the first phase of pets in the game. So we're going to start with aphids. So you'll be able to tame an aphid, run around the yard with the aphid. But you also got to make sure you protect your aphid because accidents can happen in the backyard.
Oh, there's one other thing too, achievements. So we're really excited to announce that we have achievements in Grounded, and that's purely based on everyone's feedback. Everyone's been wanting achievements, and so we're finally adding them to the game.
That's really good. Now, again, sticking with this, the topic of community. So this was an early access game, and it sounds like pretty much the foundation of what Grounded is was built off of community feedback. So how does that process work internally for you as far as people submitting like, hey, I want to sit, I want achievement pets. Like, how does that whole process work?
So we have a lot of like avenues where we gather feedback from the community. So we do weekly developer streams where chat can ask a bunch of questions when we have Adam on or other developers or myself, and we'll gather feedback and sessions there. And then our main source of feedback is through our official Discord, Grounded the Game. And I use a series of bots to gather a bunch of feedbacks from the players, and then from there, me, Adam, a couple members of the team, and also from the community team get together, and we have a weekly meeting going over all the suggestions and kind of prioritizing what will work and what we can put later in the future for like other suggestions.
Excellent. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for taking some time to come talk to me about this new update for Grounded. It looks like a lot of fun. I'm going to get to sit, I guess, right? Yep. So that's great.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
It's almost time for a closer look at the multiplayer trailer for Halo Infinite. But first, it's time to see what the snow, the slopes, and the powder spray look like when powered by Xbox Series X and S. This is Shredders.
Hey there, and welcome to this stream where you'll get an extra glimpse on our snowboard game that's called Shredders. I'm Dirk van Welden, project lead at Foam Punch.
Hello, this is Marcus Foshmo, tech lead on Shredders and Foam Punch.
Yeah, you've probably seen our trailer at the Xbox event. We've been tinkering on this game for a while now, and while it's still in development, we're happy to show you more of this game. So I'm switching to our developer drone cam. I can actually spawn wherever I want, like instantly. But I first want to show you some of the areas we've been working on. This mountain resort is called Frozen Wood. It's inspired by some of the resorts in the French Alps where I've been snowboarding a lot. It has these cozy parks, side kickers, half pipes, really big rails, a lot of features in there, way more than you would expect in a normal mountain resort. But hey, this is a video game and we want as many features as possible. So yeah, like I said, this is completely open and you can go snowboarding anywhere you'd like. You can do some missions. There's like a story evolving around the main character that wants to participate in a kick-ass invitational border cross event. We can also just cruise around and find some nice lines with a good flow, like for example here in this pillow-like environment that was shown in the trailer. Or you can go up there, like take some huge kickers and big rails at the big park. And just look how big this mountain range is. Like we've got space for industrial areas and street areas. There's backcountry, high mountain riding. There's even an old Italian-looking village you can shred. A lot of these locations have been inspired by events happening all over the world and snowboarding movies that inspired us these past years. It's kind of a tribute to, in fact. Also, anywhere you go, you can always ride during golden hour due to our real-time lighting engine. But hey, having a fun and realistic environment is nice, but it's not fun without nailing the riding itself, right?
Yeah, so for the actual snowboarding. A big inspiration for us all, I think, has been pro riders, snowboard movies, and all the crazy stuff that they do on a snowboard. And of course, ourselves riding in real life and just having fun and being creative on a snowboard. That's something that we want to bring into the game. Conceptually, we're trying to keep the convention of one stick for the board and one stick for the body, and directly map that onto the snowboarder. So at any point, you should get a physical or animation response as soon as you're touching those sticks. And it gives you a lot of freedom in your playstyle. So you can choose to be smooth and lazy, or if you are more like fast and aggressive, or you can change up your style however you want. You want the motions kept fluid and stylish while still being very reactive. So that's a big challenge, and we had to create a complete animation system dedicated just for this. And here you can see the board interacting with the snow. He puts some weight into his turn, and he really digs in those edges into the snow for a clean carve. Or you can just use the board stick here to speed check, to line up for a feature. But you can also use both of the sticks combined for even greater control. Yeah, like here you can see him balancing on the tail of the board. This is called buttering. And from this stance, you can also start tricking just as in normal riding. So for the trickster system, we're trying to give as much control as possible to any trick you've seen in a movie or any crazy trick that you can imagine, while still making it look great. Every grab you can do, you can also tweak it out with the board stick. So for a really big spin, you have to get the timing down in the takeoff.
Considering how much I love Tony Hawk, I might have to check this one out.
At that high rate.
Yeah, this looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, of course, I'm still waiting for the SSX Tricky remake. I hope that comes because that's one of my favorite snowboarding games, but I definitely will be giving that a shot. And why wouldn't you? It's in Game Pass.
A new day is upon us. A new generation.
I watched this 3 times.
Together, we are unstoppable. Are you ready?
Dude, I can't freaking wait for this game to launch, bro. So freaking good. My God, Halo 3 vibes to my core. No scope sniper. Hello, how you doing?
Stay shot. Killing spree. Double kill.
Hello, let's do some damage.
Yeah, Cosmic Pro, I'm right there with you. I'm eventually going to get to 20 times before I play this game because this looks so freaking good.
Grapple check.
Claim the enemy flag.
Yeah, great call, Shinsho Elite. Yes, you get your own AI, which is just bananas. The customization just... what could you say? Yeah, the hijacking move is crazy.
The flag is ours.
I love the beeping in a horn. Man. I love that. It's so awesome.
Haul ass at your earliest convenience, the AI says. I love it.
Now, show me what you can do.
I want that armor.
I am so excited to have Tom, Alex, and Quinn from 343 Industries. Gentlemen, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Now, I've watched this multiplayer trailer numerous times, and I want to see some specific moments from it so we can break it down. So can we roll the trailer to 15 seconds in, and let's talk about a new character.
A new day is upon us. A new generation built to fight. Together, we are unstoppable. you ready?
All right. Now, who is this character? She looks like she's in charge.
Your senses are right there. She's very much in charge. That's Commander Lorette. She's in charge of the Spartan Academy, which is the kind of contextual wrapper that the whole multiplayer universe lives in. She is basically training the new generation of Spartans to, become better, and that's really where everything wraps around. I really love this character, and then what's cool is not only is it kind of the contextual wrapper for the game, but it's also we have a whole suite of academy features, we call them, where there's a tutorial that teaches the players the fundamental basics of the game. There's weapon drills that let you practice with every weapon that exists in the game and improve your skills with those. And then there's a whole thing we call training mode, which lets you play against bots on any map, basically, in the game, and lets you experiment with the toys and kind of learn the flows of everything. So we really want to bring players on board with the game, and again, under her orders and her charge.
Now, I want to go to 50 seconds in the trailer because there was a lot of action going on, and I want to check that out.
No scope. Insane shot. Killing spree.
That bouncing back the projectiles ridiculous.
Now, you may have noticed I sat up in my chair a little bit on that one because there was a lot going on there. So please, if you can break that down, let me know what we were seeing.
There's a lot to break down. I don't know if we got enough time to get all the way into it. But some of the things that I really love when I look at that trailer is that first sequence where they have the bulldog shotgun, they're running through, shotgunning enemies. They grab the commando off the rack, put some shots in, low sensor. Like there's all sorts of different things that the player is interacting with, and that's the sandbox. That's what we call the sandbox, the toys that is at the disposal for a player's hands. And we just really love that moment in the trailer where they have the grapple shot. They look up, grapple the ceiling.
I'm right there with you, brother. I want that jacket as well, man. Is that at the shop?
Enemy, come all the way down,
spend
back
some
like
money.
a foe, and then the rest is history as you just see what happened in that trailer. But that's just some of the stuff that players can do, and that's actually the game. That's not just a movie for cinematic experience. Like that is the game that if players are good enough, put in time, they can actually do the things that you see in that trailer.
Yeah, and few things are more important to Halo multiplayer than like interacting with the sandbox and combining it, picking it up off the map and combining it into awesome play styles. So what we did was every sandbox item in the game, when it spawns, it's spawning on an object in the map, so you can see where those things can be found. And then it also tells you the respawn time of that item, when it's going to come back. And you always know, I can go grab that commando over at this spot like that guy did. So, and then when the players, accrue all those awesome items and do awesome things, you heard the return of Jeff Steitzer, the multiplayer announcer, shouting out medals. So we always want to give players medals when they do really cool things. So you heard some there, and you'll hear some later on in the trailer.
Oh, that's awesome. See, when I watch that, to me, that's Halo. That's Halo to me. I absolutely love that. Now,
that sure is.
Let's skip ahead a little bit more into the trailer to 57 seconds. I heard a voice, so I want to know what this voice is. Let's see it.
Hello, let's do some damage.
Yeah, so that is the player's personal AI. So in Halo 5, there was a squad leader that announced, when weapons are going to come up and other things going on in the match. And in Infinite, we have the player, like Chief has Cortana, they have a personal AI in their helmet that is kind of telling them these things. And it's also another way that players can show their personality in their characters. So there's multiple personalities and characters for the player to choose, so that the right AI is in their helmet, helping them out in combat.
I want to skip ahead a little further here because I think I might have saw a big team battle. So let's go to a minute 40 and check that out.
Skewer acquired.
Now we're talking Grand Theft Auto and Halo. I love it.
Return it to base. Ordnance drop inbound.
flag is ours. Please call at your earliest convenience.
That looked like big team battle to me. What's coming new? What are we going to do in big team battle in Infinite?
I mean, it's not even just that. I mean, it actually opens with actually a 4v4 with a vehicles map called Behemoth at the beginning. So we actually are bringing vehicles back into the 4v4 arena. But then, yes, it definitely transitions into the 4v or the 12v12 actually BTB part of the game, where we're actually making it a bigger team battle this time. Really wanting to index into the battle fantasy with the more players. Where instead of like vehicles just spawning around the map, we have pelicans drop them off. We have ordnance pods that drop in new weapons. And inside of that whole time, you have the battle commander, Lorette, talking in your ear, giving you orders and trying to kind of encourage you to play around, but really just bringing the whole sandbox and the play style around this whole battle experience that we're building.
Yeah, Tom brings up some good points there of Commander Lorette, and this you've got your commander on the comms, and then you've got the pelicans dropping vehicles and items off. You got drop pods, everything. It just is like this theater of war that this time around it is this 12v12 bigger team battle, if you will. And just that ending segment, which is like a capture the flag match, is just so beautiful and awesome, where you've got the Pelican drop the Banshee off, teams fight over it. You and your teammate are just making a beeline for the Banshee. Your teammate gets picked off by the sniper, and you're like, oh no, and then you get the skewer, take that sniper out, jump into the Banshee, and you hit the jets and fly up into the sky and go for the enemy flag. That to us is what is so exciting about this version of Big Team Battle, with all of the toys, all the vehicles, the modes coming back, the maps, the brand new maps that you see there. I mean, it's going to be an amazing experience.
Yeah, trust me, I cannot wait to get my hands on it for myself. But let's move on. I want to go to 208 in the trailer, because I think I saw a samurai. So let's check that out. Let's go to 208 in the trailer.
Now, show me what you can do.
Okay, so I guess next would be a ninja, because that was definitely a samurai. So kind of talk about that. So we're going to start seeing some more customization with the armor coming in.
Yeah, I mean, that is a samurai Spartan armor. Yeah. And so it'll be an armor you'll be able to unlock for free in the first season, which is super cool. Players will be able to equip it, gain more armor pieces and customization options for it, et cetera, across the season. And then we actually have more of this stuff kind of coming down the line. There's actually some really cool ideas that we're seeing in that our team that's building that stuff. So there'll be a lot of other cool armors besides just the really core Halo Spartan armors. There'll be some other different kind of twists and things for players to play with.
Awesome. Look, now before we get out of here, first of all, I want to thank all of you for being here to talk about Halo Infinite. I'm excited. I can't wait to get my hands on it and play it. But before we do leave, is there anything else that you want to bring up and let fans out there know about?
Well, I'm excited for people to actually get their hands on it like yourself. So, I mean, if people sign up on our Halo's Insiders program, we have in the summer, we have a technical preview that we're going to be launching, and so people to finally put their hands on the sticks. And I'm just really excited for players to actually finally get to play the game we're working on.
Yeah, and then on launch day, Halo Infinite Multiplayer is free to play, which is new to the franchise. The team is super excited to hopefully bring in, all sorts of fans that have potentially never experienced the franchise or haven't played it in a long time to just try it out. Come in and try it out with your friends.
Me, with my buddies, if I have some friends out there that haven't played Halo before, I'm like, well, it's free. Just come on. Let's jump in, download it. Let's check it out. And if it's for you, it's for you. If it's not, then hey, it's not. But I kind of think it'll be for you. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, that's the other big key of that point is PC, right? Like this is a PC game as well. We've been putting a lot of effort into that. So not only is it going to be console, but also PC, free to play. Like the barrier to entry is so low, and that has us excited. And I think as we really just to really think about it, is we've been working on this game. And as developers, when you work on a game, you want to get that game out there. And that almost seems like for us, that's the finish line. But in reality, it's going to be the starting line for all of us, for us and the Halo fans. Day one, there's going to be a bunch of content there and things that are exciting and good. But then we're going to add more content. We're going to add more maps. We're going to add more modes and weapons and vehicles, equipment items. And it's just the beginning of this whole journey that we've been on for a while. And we're going to take everyone else with us as the game comes out.
I'm excited. Gentlemen, again, thank you so much. Now, for fans who want to learn even more about Halo Infinite multiplayer, check out the brand new deep dive video with the whole multiplayer team over on HaloWaypoint.com. And allow me to give a big thanks to everyone who's joined us today. Whether you play your favorite games on Xbox, PC, or Game Pass, the next 12 months will be nothing short of spectacular. It has been my absolute honor to be your host and share this experience with you. But before I go, here's a gameplay deep dive from the team behind the highly anticipated Scarlet Nexus.
Oh, nice.
.世界観を表現した世界観が収められたものになってます。で、見た目ビジュアルのこのスカーレットネクサスのビジュアルの特徴だとか、あとはキャラクターの見た目だとか、様々
Not
な
my
特性
game,
につい
but
て
it's a great message to have at the end.
Yeah,
We are
no, I
supporting
この
agree.
都市はこの世界の中では一
I
番
mean,
大きな
listen,
都
one
市
of
と
the
いうふうに
biggest
紹介されていま
criticisms
す。
from Microsoft is that they didn't
ここは
have
スオーという都
Japanese
市
type
で、このゲーム
titles
の
like
中心になる
PlayStation.
場所です。
I think they've answered that
でこの
call.
スオーの都市の見た目のインスピレーションは、
Oh
東
yeah,
京の
for
景色
sure, they did.
と日本の90年代の景色をイメージしています。ユニークなビジュアル部分っていうのはいくらかあると思うんですけれど、であと今回はセル
Guys,
シェ
we're
ーディン
only
グ
going to
と
spend
リア
about
リス
10
ティッ
minutes
クな
after
背
this
景
is
を
over,
構成す
give
るよう
our
な見た目
opinions
を選
on
んでい
it,
るんですけ
kind
れ
of throw a
ど、
quick
それ
grade
は
out there, and we'll
ま
get
ず
everyone
密度
out of
感を
here.
表現したいからというのが一つありました。であともう一つは、そのセルシェーディングのキャラクターとリアリスティックな映像が混ざることによって、またそこでも異質な見た目、ちょっと面白い見た目にならないかなっていうのを模索しました。でただ単にセルシェーディングのキャラクターをリアリスティックな背景に置いてしまうと、すごく浮いてしまって、見た目が変になってしまうっていうのを懸念してたんですけれど、うまくそこを混ざるように工夫したっていうのが今回の苦労した点の一つではあります。で例えば今映像の中で東京タワーが映ってると思うんですけれど、これは日本では有名なランドマークで海外の人も見たことがあるかもしれないものと思うんですけど、その東京タワーがものすごく大きなサイズになっていて、でこれ3000メートル、富士山と同じぐらいサイズがあるんですけど、それだけ大きなもの、本当はそんなにサイズない333メートルの東京タワーをそれだけ大きくすることによって、ちょっとおかしい異質な景色みたいのを作りたいっていうのがありました。そのさっき東京の都市をいろいろと混ぜるみたいな話をしたと思うんですけれど、それというのもその僕たちも知ってる街なんだけれどちょっとおかしいみたいなそういった異質さを出したいっていうのがありまして、なので東京タワーも僕たちは知ってるものだけどすごく大きなこんな大きなサイズじゃないんだけど、こういったものがこの街の中にあるってことで何かちょっと変な場所だなっていうふうに思ってほしいっていうのがありました。で大きな桜の木というのは日本を代表する桜の木なんですけど、それがあまりにも大きなサイズになっていて、これもさっきの東京タワーと同じで異質さを感じてほしいと思ってやっていることです。でこれが本作の特徴となる怪異という主人公たちに立ちはだかる敵
All
なん
right,
で
guys,
すけれ
listen,
ど、
what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mute this,
この見た
let
目
it
につ
play
い
in the
ては
background, and want to get everyone's opinion on this. Hold on just a second. Let me just. There we go. All right, listen, guys. Let's grab everyone's opinion on this event. I want to thank everybody. We had almost over 400 people here, and I really appreciate you coming, hanging out with myself, VJ, Boxer Bear, and of course N64 Josh. Archimedes, we'll start with you first. What were your thoughts on, first of all, Paris knocked it out of the park. Like he said he was nervous. All he did was solidify why he's a monster presence in gaming. I could not be happier for the guy. He's gone from Gamertag Radio, which is no small feat, to Kind of Funny, to working exclusively with Xbox. I think it's all pushing up roses for him. For what were your thoughts of the event? Did you like what you saw?
Absolutely, I was very much surprised by how good this was. Actually, I mean, we said in the beginning, no big announcements, but it was really well done. The production quality was incredible, on par with the actual showcase. Like you said, Paris did a fantastic job moderating the whole thing. Really great character on stage. it's always different if you see someone in a podcast or during such an event. He did a really good job. The inside was great. They showed a couple of awesome things. The Forza Horizon inside in the beginning, Hellblade 2, awesome tease. Really, really going to be an awesome experience. What else did we had? We had the flight sim, of course, in there. The Plague Tale enhancements coming. Psychonauts 2 looked fantastic.
It did.
Beautiful.
Psychonauts 2 looked really. I mean, that was a great deep dive, man. That was
great. Absolutely. Design Lab is back, man. Yes, I was waiting for that. I can't wait to design my own Series X controller. And Halo. You can never go wrong with Halo, right? It was a fantastic show. I was surprised about this, really. They had that big blowout of games with game after game after game on Sunday, and now they had that developer-focused, that background-focused event, but with the same production quality. And I really like that because it offers for everyone something now. They had the E3 showcase for the more general public, with easy to digest trailers and stuff like that. And this was obviously focused more on the hardcore gamer. And they did a really good job. I'm pleasantly surprised, Boom.
Yeah, Gary Duddle in the chat, good friend of the show, says much better to talk to devs afterwards like this than during the showcase, and I couldn't agree more. VJ, I love your perspective on the way that you break down situations like this. What were your thoughts on this event, VJ? Was this an exciting way to get some deep dives on some big games coming to Xbox, more specifically Xbox Game Pass?
I think there's so many facets to this, Boom. I probably need some more time to think about it. But let me just shoot from the hip. But I'll give you like several scenarios from consumer, from business, from a presentation point of view. The third prerequisite I had prior to E3 was for Xbox to double down on Game Pass. If you remember, a couple of weeks back.
Yep, you sure did.
Given the lackluster first half of 2021. In contrast, don't the games on offer and coming to Game Pass in the second half of 2021 seem like a huge leap in quality and investment? The expression chalk and cheese, it must come to everybody's mind. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. With that said, let's put that aside. But with that said, what a brilliant showcase. The sentiment behind a developer sort of focused presentation is what we've been requesting and discussing on this show last year, leading up to the fourth quarter of last year. Let the creatives spark, the creative sparks and the leads in each studio sort of speak for themselves. And that insight offered, via transparency as well, of course, based on the games that intrigue you, only help further build sort of our sort of personal anticipation and connection with a forthcoming release or franchise. And Paris Lilly was a breath of fresh air. I don't know the guy. I've never really come across him. A far more human and genuine figure in the community. Some perhaps can relate to. I could personally. And it was all sort of very cerebrally engaging. Can I say that? And another feather in Xbox's cap. If you wanted, Boom, from a consumer perspective, right? If you ever wanted a succinct sort of advertisement, ultimately a reason to invest or just to try out the Xbox hardware or the Game Pass subscription service, bar a couple of games that were shown like Battlefield and so on and so forth, I think it was a perfect advertisement. And surely, or perhaps undoubtedly, sort of this extended showcase and the diversity of content, talent, and personalities on sort of open and honest display perhaps goes some way to entice and ultimately convince you that Xbox has changed and for the better. I think a strategic and concerted effort, Boom, has been made to stop any kind of potential sort of large churn and that sometimes subscription services feign. And I think that you can see that investment going in. I feel that there is more to come and plenty more to be done, not just in terms of content. And I'm all eyes and ears going forward. And being a huge fan of Japanese culture and the Yakuza series, I'm looking forward to Scarlet Nexus. Shame on you, Archimedes. I'd love to talk about the games, Boom. And just a really quick word on Hellblade 2. You can see, Boom, right? The intent and investment is really clear And I'm referring to the time afforded, not just funding, right? Time is so valuable to developers, not huge team sizes. And Ninja Theory evolving and sort of developing their studio during conceptual and pre-production stages over the last 2 years, pretty much following in the steps, not the exact same steps, but in the terms of leading up to becoming that pedigree studio, similar to Santa Monica and other great studios. And you can totally understand why they're still in pre-production and it's exciting that they just didn't just turn around and just make a Poor Neighbors sequel right to the first game, and that's what stayed with me right from the beginning of the show throughout the whole show. And it's interesting to notice that both studios visited Iceland right for research for the respective third-person titles, and fidelity and detail aside, I hope that the art design wise that Ninja Theory can push the beautiful artistry, push Santa Monica in terms of the beauty artistry that they create, and given the time afforded. I think they probably would have addressed this anyway. I'm going to stop there, Boom, before you kick me off the show. Cheers.
No. Listen, great stuff as always. I mean, listen, you're absolutely on to something. I think that when we get Hellblade 2, whenever that is going to be, is it the first quarter of next year? Is it holiday 2022? I don't know. All I can tell you is I agree with you. I think that what we're going to get is a masterpiece. And I think that with a lot of the games that were absent from this year's E3, and listen, folks. I mean, think about this for a second. We got two showcases, two 90-minute showcases. One was games. The second one, which we got a chance to watch today, showed us a bunch of really deep dives. We got a chance to meet a lot of the developers that you normally don't meet. I'm just going to run off before I get to Josh of what wasn't there and what's coming. Hellblade 2, Indiana Jones, Fable, Perfect Dark, Motorsport, Avowed, Compulsion's new game, Gears 6, Everwild, State of Decay 3. The list just goes on. And those are games that were not there.
Mm-hmm.
And we got a smorgasbord of games. Listen, I got to tell you, man. I mean, I think that first of all, the running narrative of Xbox has no games is gone. Yep. The new narrative is Xbox has too many games. And I think that the next couple of years as Xbox gamers, we are going to be drowning in first-party goodness. So, listen, let me get Josh into the conversation. Josh, what did you walk away from this? I mean, like, as a Twitch streamer who, obviously your bread and butter is content and getting, did Microsoft answer today?
There's been one, my biggest gripe with Halo 5 was 4v4 and no vehicles, and they answered that, like they're fixing that problem. Hearing them say that on stage today, that is the biggest thing for me. There were so many great things, don't get me wrong, but I want to make the memories that we made back in Halo 2, back in Halo 3, back in Reach, where it's more. I talked about it on the Halo Infinite podcast yesterday, where it's like Halo 5, you had good snipes and you could get sticks, and there were some cool moments worth saving. But when you get warthogs in the mix and mongoose and those different vehicles and asymmetrical maps with three of your buddies, and you're just it's the most fun. That's where Halo thrives for me. And to hear that that's coming back is the biggest takeaway of the show for me. Everything else was amazing, don't get me wrong, but Halo's back. I said it earlier, I'm gonna say it again. Halo is back.
Well, listen, I mean, it is back. And first of all, this is now the second 3+ hour stream for Double Barrel Gaming. Listen, I know that a lot of the folks I see in the chat are regulars. I appreciate you being here. I see a lot of new names. And if you are new, I would implore you to please help me get to 10,000 subs. I don't know when I'm going to do it. I was hoping to do it by E3. To be honest with you, my original set goal for myself was the end of 2021. I think I should hit it. I'm about 1,500 subs away. YouTube is something that I've been doing for only 3.5 years. I'm quite enjoying it. And of course, I want to hit 10K. It's a big mark for me personally. And it's one that I'm hoping to do. And you can help me get there. If you're new, obviously, I would, again, please consider subscribing to the channel. 4 live shows per week, primetime gaming on Mondays. You get your Xbox fix on Tuesdays and Thursdays with 2 versions of the Xbox Factor podcast. And of course, Friday morning, Breakfast with Boom. And tomorrow morning, we will be doing it live at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with King David from the Iron Lords, and he's going to be joining us, and we're going to be breaking down everything that happened here today. And we're also going to be going into some other topics of who won E3, who were the big winners, who were the big losers, and of course, you're going to get pure comedy hour with King David. Oh, real quick, Andre de Leon, thank you so much for becoming a channel member. I super appreciate that. But listen, folks, let's get to the outros. I'm going to start first, of course, with our good friend Boxenberger. You've been doing a lot of work on your channel. Want to get you more subs as well. Tell everyone about where they can reach out to you on social media, but more importantly, subscribe to your YouTube channel.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me. It's always fun to hang out, and today we had a special thing with the live event that's is especially fun, and with the chat, the amazing community here, and of course the incredible panel. VJ, such a well-spoken person. N64 Josh, amazing addition to our panel. I'm glad you could win him over for the Xbox Factor podcast. It's just awesome to be here every week. And yeah, people can find me basically everywhere at Boxenberger. Of course, on Twitter, Xbox, PlayStation, and like you said, especially here on YouTube. I've been working really hard this week, putting out a lot of content, covering E3 from different angles. And yeah, if you're interested in, not a daily news channel, but more of a commentary channel, definitely check the Boxenberger channel out. Thanks, Boom.
Oh, well, thank you, brother. I appreciate you hanging out the extra time. Obviously, it's late where you are, and definitely love having you here each and every week. Of course, VJ, listen, dude, again, you're always impressed. I love having you a part of this panel. You always bring it 100. Tell everyone about where they can reach out to you on social media, and where could people find you on other programs? What do you got going on, VJ? Did I mute VJ by accident or something? Oh,
hey, Boom. Sorry.
There you go, brother. Yep. So tell everyone about where they can reach out to you on social media, but also what else you got going on? Who else you're working with?
Actually, this is my only show this week.
Okay.
having a bit of a break, but you can find me on Twitter at Viewpoint Gaming. But I'm not on tomorrow's show. But Boom, Joseph Staten is the winner. And
yes,
the people and the 100%. Feather in Microsoft's cap. He's the winner of the show. There's nobody else that comes to mind. And I wish we had time to go into a deeper discussion on that, perhaps another time. I'm definitely.
Well, listen, if you're going to be available on Tuesday, because next week, you can jump on the Xbox Factor podcast and give us your opinion if you want. Because FYI, folks, just to give you the heads up, and I'm going to make it a public announcement about this. Next week, Mrs. BoomStick and I are celebrating our 21st wedding anniversary on Thursday. She's on vacation that week, so we are taking the second half of the week for a nice long couple kind of a weekend. So you're only going to get 2 shows next week. You're getting Monday's prime time, which I'm already working on, and Tuesday's Xbox Factor podcast. So obviously there'll be no show on Thursday or Friday of next week. Obviously we're going to kind of just, enjoy each other's company, maybe go for a couple of hikes, do some shopping. But I'll be making a public announcement about that so everyone knows. But VJ, if you want to jump on Tuesday's show, by all means, we'll love to have you.
Definitely, Boom. I'll be in touch with you about that. I just wanted to finish off by saying I'm warming to Josh slowly but surely. A pint of tea might swing it in his favor, and Archimedes. Archimedes, I love our interactions. They bring a smile to my face. And Boom, what can I say? God bless you, and thanks for doing the shows, and thank you for making me a part of it. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, dude. So it's a pleasure and an honor to work with you each and every week. Thank you for all the congratulations. Yes, Mrs. BoomStick, that is my rock. She is my best friend first before she's my wife. And yep, 21 years. We'll be married June 24th. So yeah, thank you so much, everyone. And real quick, Josh, let's get you on out of here. But you got a lot going on, so we want to give you the mic, the floor. Tell everyone about where they can check out N64 Josh, your new Halo channel, and what you got going on Twitch, my friend.
VJ usually takes a pint of whiskey to put up with me. So, guys, you can find me everywhere at N64Josh, XboxNow.tv, YouTube.com/XboxNow. We're got a weekly podcast every Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. That's just like a 30-minute show looking at 3 different topics. We just launched today. It is available on Spotify and Apple now. The Halo Infinite podcast. That is the other thing that we're doing is the co-host on that show, Johnny Bow and Nightcrawler. We are playing through Halo 5 on Legendary, and it is like Halo 5 meets Mystery Science Theater 3000. Like there is just we're just having a great just poking fun at each other, laughing, like making the most of a game that kind of fell flat. And they are regretting saying yes, they would play all the way through this game because we've only played 2 missions and it's already been over 90 minutes of content because they keep saying I'm gonna die all the time and I'm having to pick them up. So it's it's a good time. So thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate everybody here on this panel and the chat, of course. I'm humbled to be here. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much. Anyway, of course, everyone, thank you so much. The super chats, I tried to get to them before I wrote to you in the chat. Thank you so much for supporting Double Barrel Gaming. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught me when we were kids. And he said, son, treat others how you want to be treated. Also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. We'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor Podcast.